Chapter 260. Fengwu put Little Bun down. Little Bun was already more than a year old and had already learned how to walk. He could even speak very clearly now. Little Bun was put down on the ground. His little legs jogged forward. In front of him was none other than the dining table. There was also an auntie behind the dining table. However, Fengwu was familiar with this auntie. Even Little Bun was familiar with her. Auntie Tianyu. Little Bun ran towards Tianyu when he saw someone he knew. Tianyu did not notice anyone coming up. When she heard this familiar voice, she immediately looked forward. Sure enough, she saw a chubby and cute little thing running towards her. Little Yi. Tianyu hurriedly walked out from behind the dining table and hugged the little darling who was running towards her. Carrying Feng Yi, Tianyu looked up to look for another figure. Sure enough, she found a black-haired little loli not far away. Tianyu greeted Fengwu. She held Little Bun in her arms and smiled. It was obvious that she was in a good mood after seeing Fengwu and her son. Come, help yourself to whatever you want to eat. The food on the third floor is cheap and the dishes are several times more sumptuous than those on the first and second floors. These are all benefits for the 10th seat students. Tianyu had already found out that Fengwu had become the 10th seat student of the first grade not long ago. To be honest, when she first saw the list of the first grade's 10th seat students, Tianyu had rubbed her eyes a few times, afraid that she had seen wrongly. She would never have dreamed that the seemingly weak and delicate Fengwu would actually have the strength to be in the top 10 of the year. Although she was only in the 10th place, this kind of ranking was already very impressive for a new student. Thinking about how there were so many new students, it was already very, very impressive for her to be in the top 10 out of hundreds of people. Fengwu nodded and walked to the dining table to get a plate. Then, she put all the food she wanted on the plate. Only when the plate was full did she stop. Diane and her younger sister, Diane, sat together and watched the interaction between Fengwu and Tianyu with cold eyes. Diane was very interested in the little bun, Feng Yi. Her pair of beautiful and innocent big eyes kept staring at Feng Yi. She really wanted to hug this cute little thing. On the other hand, Diane's attention was focused on Fengwu. Diane was very wary of this girl who was obviously favored by Ming Shi. She looked at her younger sister dotingly. Ming Shi could only be counted as Diane. No woman could take away the person Diane liked. Fengwu took the food she wanted. After paying for it, she casually found a table near the dining table and sat down. As for Xiao Yi, he was still playing with Tianyu. Tianyu lovingly fed Feng Yi the egg custard. This egg custard even had minced meat in it. It tasted very fragrant and smooth. Feng Yi ate an entire bowl before he stopped eating. Dear, look at that woman. She actually carried the child up to the third floor. It's too outrageous. A girl who looked delicate glanced at Fengwu, then leaned into the arms of a tall and strong boy next to her. She fed the boy grapes with one hand and drew circles on his chest with the other. Who cares about her? Maybe she is a relative of the auntie who sells vegetables. Sister Mei Luo stares at this kind of inferior person all day long. No wonder she is still in the second grade after 3 years of school. Another equally beautiful woman also clung to the tall and strong boy's body. Her chest was pressed against his arm, and she glanced at Mei Luo flirtatiously. Mei Luo sneered, "Is there something wrong with Sister Celia's eyesight? You actually said that the dignified Feng family's first daughter is inferior. I don't know what kind of person a commoner like Sister is." The strong man who was surrounded by 2 women suddenly raised his eyebrows when he heard Fengwu's identity. Darling Mei Luo, you said she is the Feng family's first daughter? Du Han was obviously interested in this topic. Mei Luo was secretly happy. She knew he would be interested, isn't it? She is also Feng Yanran's cousin. The Feng family is really beautiful. Although this Feng family's first daughter is not as beautiful as Feng Yanran, she is also a rare beauty. Feng Yanran's cousin. The strong man's eyes darkened as if he was thinking. So she is Feng Yanran's cousin. No wonder. I heard that she has already given birth to a child at a young age. When I heard it before, I thought someone was slandering her. I didn't expect it to be true. She has no self-respect at such a young age. She is really like her cousin. Slap. Celia covered her cheek. She couldn't believe that this man actually hit her. Bitch, a bitch like you dares to speak ill of Yenran. The man was still angry after he slapped her. He directly kicked the woman who hadn't reacted yet to the ground. Celia was kicked. Blood flowed out of the corner of her mouth. Her eyes were filled with fear. This man was the third seat of the third year, Myodo. Myodo not only had an outstanding family background, but he was also very strong. There were only 2 people in the third year who were stronger than him. Because of Myodo's power and family background, he was always surrounded by women who threw themselves at him. In the restaurant on the 3rd floor, Myodo would often bring different women up for a meal. It was a way for him to show off his status and power. Of course, Myodo was not the only one who did this. Other than a few people, most of the men who could come up to the 3rd floor had the habit of bringing their female companions to eat with them. The things that men compared with each other were either strength or women. Being able to come up to the 3rd floor to eat had already proved their strength and status. As for women, as long as they had strength and status, would they lack women? Myodo had many women, but he never cherished them. To him, those women were like kittens and puppies. When he was happy, he would play with them. When he was unhappy, he could do whatever he wanted with them. Mei Luo looked at this scene coldly. What a ridiculous Celia. She thought that she could say anything just because she was loved by Myodo. She really didn't know this man at all. What happened at Myodo's table did not attract much attention. They did not care about the life or death of a female companion. When that woman slapped Myodo, she should have known that something like this would happen sooner or later. Myodo was never a man who would go easy on women. I was wrong, my dear. I won't do it again. Celia was not completely stupid. She quickly figured out what she did wrong. Because Myodo looked at Feng Yenran differently, she lost control and said those things. She never thought that there would be a day when Myodo would fall in love with a woman so much. This discovery made her crazy with jealousy, but there was nothing she could do. My dear, Sister Celia also knows that she was wrong. Please forgive her this time. Mei Luo said with a delicate voice. Chapter 261. Humph. If you dare to spout nonsense again, I will skin you alive. Myodo glared at Celia coldly and turned to look at Mello. Go and invite Miss Fengwu over for a meal. Yes, I will go now. Mello did not show any dissatisfaction and answered obediently. Myodo nodded in satisfaction. He liked women who were obedient, and Mello was much better than Celia in this aspect. Celia cursed under her breath and got up. She tidied herself up and sat back in her seat, not daring to say anything. Myodo was very confident that Fengwu would come over as soon as she heard his name. Although the first year's 10th seat was also a 10th seat, she was no match for him, the 3rd seat of the 3rd year. As long as Fengwu knew what was good for her, he was confident that she would not reject him. However, the result was always unexpected. What did you say? She's not coming over. Myodo was furious. Ever since he entered the Notre Dame du Starlight, it was the first time that someone dared to disrespect him like this. Mello looked troubled. She did not believe that someone would reject Myodo like this. Yes, she said that she would not come over. I tried to persuade her, but she did not listen. Mello complained. Damn it! Myodo slammed the table angrily. She really thinks that she is something just because she is the first daughter of the Feng family. She should look at herself in the mirror. If it was not for Yenran, who would want to talk to her? Myodo wanted to teach her a lesson, but when he thought about where he was, he had to give up the idea. Humph, I wanted to use you to get close to Feng Yenran. Bitch, how dare you be so ungrateful? After being rejected by Fengwu, Myodo glared at Fengwu and snorted coldly. He then left with his 2 women without looking back. Fengwu, on the other hand, had no idea that she had offended another big shot. She was still busy competing with the food on her plate. The food on the second floor was indeed much better than the food on the first floor. Although the price was a little more expensive than the food on the first floor, the taste was still better on the third floor. After dinner, Feng Wu took Xiao Yi and Tianyu back to the dormitory, completely ignoring Dai En's malicious gaze. At the end of every semester, there would be a travel mission for me. The location of the travel would be selected by the team leader. Whichever location was selected, I had to complete the mission. Feng Wu and the others were freshmen, so they didn't participate in the traveling mission at the end of last year because of their strength. However, they had to participate in the traveling mission at the end of the semester. Moreover, they had to look for their seniors to help lead the team. This was the time to test their popularity. Even if one wasn't popular, it was still possible to have money. Not every senior student was rich, and some students would agree to bring the freshmen out to travel in order to earn money. If they had neither money nor popularity, then they could only wait for their teacher to make arrangements. However, the people arranged by the teacher wouldn't be outstanding people. Although they would be seniors, their strength would definitely be average. They wouldn't be as reassuring as the people they found. Feng Wu, Ajur, and Mo Gue formed a team. Then, Ajur went to Ming Shi and expressed his intention to let Ming Shi lead the three of them on a trip. Ming Shi didn't refuse and agreed with a smile. However, the number of people in the team had to be at least 6. If the team didn't have 6 people, the school would arrange for other people to join the team. Feng Wu's team only had 3 people. Not counting Ming Shi as the team leader, the school had to arrange for at least 3 more people to join the team. Feng Wu had Little White by her side, Ajur on her left, and Mo Gue on her right. The 3 of them waited at the school gate for the others to arrive. When Ming Shi arrived, he saw the 3 of them standing together. Feng Wu was rubbing her eyes sleepily, looking as if she hadn't woken up yet. Feng Yi, who was in Little White's arms, was drinking milk from a bottle. As for the other 2, one was stretching and the other was looking around. Seeing the 3 of them, Ming Shi couldn't help but think of what had happened a few days ago. Ming Shi, are you sure you want to take Feng Wu and the others on a traveling mission? Algro asked. Ming Shi nodded, a faint smile still on his face. Ming Shi, tell me the truth. Are you finally moved by our little sister Feng Wu? Otherwise, why would you agree to be their team leader and take them on a traveling mission? Elena said with interest. That's right, that's right. It's not easy to be a team leader, especially when you're taking the juniors out with you. You have to ensure their safety. If anything happens to them outside, the team leader has to take full responsibility. Ruglas also chimed in. What are you guys talking about? Ming Shi couldn't help but laugh. His friends were really good at gossip. Ming Shi, you're leaving us to go on a date with little sister Feng Wu. Aren't you worried about our safety? You're actually leaving us behind to fly alone. You're simply valuing women over friends. Arguros gave Ming Shi a flirtatious look. Ming Shi rubbed his forehead helplessly. These guys were really... The place you're going to this time is very unusual. Be careful. Skycliff suddenly said. What's going on? Didn't we hear that we're going to Three-Leaf Island? Although there are undercurrents all around Three-Leaf Island, and water-type monsters often appear around the island, it's not a particularly dangerous place. It was impossible for the freshmen's training grounds to be too dangerous. After all, the freshmen's strength was there for all to see. If they went to a dangerous place, even if there were seniors protecting them, it would be impossible to protect everyone's safety. For the freshmen's safety, the school couldn't arrange a place that was too far away from the freshmen's strength. What danger could there be in a place that was chosen according to the freshmen's strength? I heard that the sea hasn't been peaceful recently. Many adventurers who went out to sea haven't returned. Even the Star Hall sent out several groups of people to investigate, but they haven't found any news yet. Were you worried that Ming Shi and the others would be unlucky and encounter danger? Elena thought about it and understood Skycliff's worries. That's not all. Three-Leaf Island gives me a very ominous feeling. Ming Shi, you have to be more careful. Skycliff frowned. He trusted his own instincts. He felt that Ming Shi's trip wouldn't be peaceful, and it was very likely that there would be great danger. Ming-Shi's eyes revealed a hint of deep thought, then he smiled faintly. "Don't worry. I'll take care of myself." These days, as the day of departure approached, he felt more and more uneasy. He trusted his instincts. It seemed that something big was going to happen during this trip. Chapter 262. Not long after Ming-Shi arrived, 2 boys and 2 girls arrived. One of the boys was a second-year magician, while the other was a second-year swordsman. One of the girls was a second-year music major, while the other was a first-year pharmacist. The pharmacist girl was none other than Feng Yan-ran, who had been in the limelight recently. They had been assigned by the school, so none of them had teamed up with anyone else. After taking a head count, they introduced themselves to each other and headed for the dock. The 2 second-year boys were named O'Brien and Riot. One was cold, and the other was calm. They seemed to be nice people. The girl from the music major was named Mildy. She seemed to be of noble birth and was engaged to O'Brien. However, O'Brien wasn't very close to Mildy. He always looked at her with a hint of annoyance. The place they were heading to was a small island in the middle of the sea, so they had to take a boat to reach it. The group went to the beach and hired a boat. It would take a month to travel from the central city to the Three Leaves Island, so they needed to prepare enough food and water. In order to prepare these things, they stayed at the beach for a night. The next day, when everything was ready, they boarded the boat and set off. The ship guard they hired was not very big. There were only 4 crew members on the ship. These crew members were all ordinary swordsmen. Their skills were not bad among ordinary people. Because they had been out at sea for a long time, their skin was darker. However, their bodies were very good. Every one of them was very strong. After the 8 of them were assigned rooms, they went back to their rooms to rest. Life at sea was very boring. Fortunately, Ajur and Mo Gue had prepared a card game to pass the time. Zicheng was the one who came up with the card game. It was very popular in Central City now. There was also a small square game called Mahjong, which was popular in Central City. It wasn't just the nobles who liked to play it. Even the common people liked to play it in their spare time. Zicheng made use of these 2 playful little things and made a name for herself. The number of suitors chasing after her increased by a lot. "I won, all of them," Mo Gue shouted excitedly as he pushed his cards forward. "No way, you won again. Are you cheating?" Ajur took out some gold coins and handed them to Mo Gue. He didn't like the guy who had won 3 rounds. Ming-Shi didn't have any reaction and paid the money quickly. Mo Gue's luck is so good, Riot said enviously. They had played 8 rounds, and he hadn't won a single one. He really wanted to know what it was like to win. "You let me win." Mo Gue laughed arrogantly. He didn't expect his luck to be so good. The sound of cards being shuffled could be heard. Compared to the other table, it was much quieter. 4 twos bomb, I won, I won. Mildy raised her eyebrows proudly at her fiancé, O'Brien. O'Brien and Feng Yan-ran paid the money quickly. They didn't say anything, but O'Brien secretly looked at Feng Yan-ran. The admiration in his eyes became more and more obvious. When Feng Wu came out of her afternoon nap with the children, she saw the 2 tables playing mahjong and cards. It was a harmonious scene. "Xiao Wu, you're awake. Do you want to play mahjong? It's fun." Ajur saw Feng Wu and waved at Feng Wu. He stopped shuffling the cards. Feng Wu blinked and looked at the piles of cubes. "No, I don't." "It's okay. Come sit. I'll teach you. You'll learn quickly." Ajur wanted to pull Feng Wu over to help him change his luck. When he heard that Feng Wu didn't refuse, he immediately went over and pulled Feng Wu over. Ajur let Feng Wu sit next to him and let her watch and learn. "Xiao Wu, where's Xiao Yi? Is he still sleeping?" Ming-Shi didn't see Feng Yi, so he asked with concern. Feng Wu was a very cute child in his eyes. The students in the school had a lot of guesses about the father of Feng Wu's child. Some believed the official statement given by the school, and some didn't. The pregnant fruit was a very rare spiritual fruit. There weren't many people who had the luck to eat the pregnant fruit as an ordinary spiritual fruit. And Fengwu was a little girl. How could she have come into contact with the pregnant fruit? She even ate it by mistake. Those who believed in it believed that Fengwu was indeed unlucky. Or rather, she was so lucky that she could encounter such a rare event that only happened once in 100 years. Those who didn't believe it could always find many reasons to make up stories about others. Even Feng Ye's background could be made up of dozens of versions, almost enough to write a book. Regardless of whether others believed it or not, Mingxi believed that Fengwu didn't give birth to Fengwu with a man. The most obvious proof was that Fengwu didn't have any man's aura. As long as she wasn't a virgin, she would have a man's aura. Others might not be able to sense it, but a descendant of God like Mingxi could. Fengwu's body was very clean and didn't have any man's aura. This proved that she hadn't been intimate with a man before. If she could get pregnant without being intimate with a man, it was obvious that she had consumed the wrong Fae. Mingxi liked Feng Yi and had a natural good impression of him. Feng Yi also liked Mingxi a lot. When they first met, he even called Mingxi daddy, which made Mingxi feel very awkward. "He's still sleeping," Fengwu said. "Is it okay to leave Xiao Yi alone in the room? Will he be afraid when he wakes up?" Mingxi asked worriedly. "Senior Mingxi, since you are so worried about Xiao Yi, you might as well be his father. Anyway, Xiao Wu likes you so much and has proposed to you so many times. If you marry Xiao Wu, you can have a cute son. How great would that be?" Mo Gue sincerely treated Fengwu as a friend. He would help Fengwu chase after Mingxi whenever he had the chance. Mingxi was probably used to being teased. The smile on his face didn't change, and he didn't have any intention of replying. On the other hand, Fengwu's big eyes stared at Mingxi as though she was looking forward to his answer. Mingxi didn't answer, so she kept staring. She stared until Mingxi couldn't pretend that he didn't see it. Marriage isn't something you can just say. At the very least, you have to love each other. These words were directed at Fengwu. He couldn't feel any love from Fengwu. It could be said that Fengwu didn't love him, or her feelings for him hadn't reached the level of love. He hoped that Fengwu could understand what love was. A marriage without love was destined to be unhappy. Love. Fengwu tilted her head, a puzzled look in her eyes. Why did love have to be involved in marriage? Master didn't say that. A lot of liking is love. When Xiao Wu really likes someone, only then can she say that she wants to marry that person. Chapter 263. I like you a lot, Fengwu said affirmatively. She liked Mingxi. She had always liked him. Why did Mingxi say that? What's the difference between liking me and liking a Jur and Mo Gue? Mingxi sighed. It was a good thing to take this opportunity to let this girl understand the difference between friendship and love. The other team members at the table stopped playing and stared at Fengwu with interest, waiting for Fengwu's answer. Mingxi wasn't the only one who noticed Fengwu's problem. Even a Jur noticed it. This girl didn't know what love was. Her reason for proposing to Mingxi was very simple. She just wanted to find a good man to be Xiao Ye's father. Although Mingxi was a good man, he still hoped that Fengwu could find a man she loved and marry, and not be so ignorant. If Mo Gue hadn't understood Fengwu's feelings for Mingxi before, he understood now. This girl had caused so much trouble. She had confessed, sent a love letter, and proposed, but in the end, she still hadn't understood. Riot, on the other hand, looked at this scene with great interest. He had a feeling that he had discovered something incredible. Fengwu fell into deep thought after hearing Mingxi's question. After a moment, she said, I like him too. Ajur and Mo Gue almost spat. Don't be so honest, girl. It would be strange if he agreed to your proposal if you said that. As expected. Mingxi sighed. He had already expected this result, but he still felt a little disappointed. We'll see when his feelings for me are different from theirs. Fengwu nodded. Ajur and Mo Gue exchanged glances. There was hope. It seemed that Mingxi didn't have no feelings for Fengwu. Following that, everyone tacitly ended the topic and focused on playing mahjong. After 2 rounds of mahjong, a juror gave up his seat to Feng Wu. Xiao Wu, don't be afraid. I'll definitely go easy on you. I won't win too much. Mo Gue chuckled. I'm not afraid. She was not afraid. This was not scary. After shuffling the cards, Mo Gue threw the dice and began to draw. Feng Wu made some small mistakes at the beginning, but she didn't make any mistakes. Moreover, she had a juror's guidance, so she played better and better. After 3 rounds, she began to win money. I won, it's the same color. Yes, yes, yes. I won. I won. After Feng Wu won 7 rounds in a row, no one could stand it anymore. It was only fun to win and lose in a game of cards. Could you play properly if you kept winning by yourself? Stop. Xiao Wu, are you sure you're a newbie? Have you really never learned mahjong before? Mo Gue said weakly, his entire body about to collapse on the table. Yes, little sister Feng Wu is too strong. She doesn't seem like a newbie at all. Riot, who had only won 1 round after playing for so long, said in annoyance. A juror's heart ached for his wallet. He couldn't afford to lose a child who didn't listen to her family and had her source of income cut off. Ming Shi chuckled. Rich people never worried about money. I can prove that she really is a newbie. This girl has never played mahjong before. I've taught her cards, but not mahjong. Although he didn't want to admit that he had been defeated by a newbie, this was the hard truth. Xiao Wu, come, tell me. How did you win every round? Do you have any tricks? Mo Gue forced himself to be spirited and asked mysteriously. If there really was a trick, he might be able to win every round in the future. Mo Gue thought happily in his heart, as if he could already see a large pile of gold coins waving at him. Hearing Mo Gue's question, the other 3 immediately turned their attention to Feng Wu. They were very interested in this trick that they didn't know existed. There's no trick. Feng Wu shook her head. That's impossible. Then how do you win every time? Are you really that lucky? Mo Gue, who had thought that he would hear some kind of trick, was very disappointed. If there was a trick, then it would be fine. But if it was really something illusory like luck, then what could they do? It's not that I'm lucky. Feng Wu shook her head again. It's very simple. If you know the cards that have been played, then you know the ones that haven't been played. According to the order in which you deal with your cards, it's very easy to know what cards you have in your hands. It's very easy to win. It was clearly such a simple thing. Was there a need for a trick? Was it really like this? The other people at the table were silent at the same time. How was it simple? In order to be fair, they didn't use any magic or do qi when playing cards. They also couldn't use their spiritual power to peek at other people's cards. Without relying on these, it was not easy to remember so many cards. If they didn't know that Feng Wu couldn't use her spiritual power to check their cards without them knowing, they would have thought that Feng Wu was cheating. Probably because Feng Wu was too strong, no one wanted to play with her. She was driven to play cards. As the only man at the table, O'Brien naturally gave up his seat to Feng Wu. Fortunately, playing cards didn't rely on memory. Luck was more important. Although Feng Wu couldn't win every round because of her luck, she could at least win 3 out of 5 rounds. This also made Feng Yanran and Mildy cry out that they couldn't take it anymore. After a few rounds, they lost all their cards. Fortunately, at this time, the crew came to inform them that it was time to eat. Feng Yanran and Mildy were as if they had been granted amnesty. As soon as they threw away their cards, they rushed out to eat. Feng Wu blinked, put away the cards, and followed them out. The chef on the ship prepared fresh grilled fish for them and the fragrant white rice that Feng Wu ate. In fact, most people in Western countries didn't eat white rice, but Feng Wu loved to eat it, so Ming Shi bought a lot of it and put it on the ship. There were also a lot of meat food in the cold room. The crew's grilled fish was really good. With grilled fish and rice, Feng Wu ate several big bowls. Her appetite made people who saw her for the first time a little unbelievable. How could such a small person eat so much food? Eating grilled fish and enjoying the sea breeze, life on the sea was actually not bad. Hey, what's that in front? It looks like there are people in the water. A crew member stood on the bow and exclaimed. Ming Shi and others were surprised. They put down the food and walked to the bow. Sure enough, they saw a few people floating on the water with a wooden board. Senior Ming Shi, what should we do now? Should we save those people? Riot didn't think of saving people first. This was the sea, and the sea was not as calm as the land. If these people were used by the pirates to explore, it was likely that they would lead the wolf into the house. They are so pitiful. Senior Ming Shi, let's save them. Feng Yanran couldn't bear to see them like this. Chapter 264. Feng Yanran could not bear to see the three people floating on the surface of the sea. She looked at Ming Shi with pleading eyes. You want to save them? What if they are pirates in disguise? Mildy rolled her eyes impolitely. Who was she pretending to be a saint for? She subconsciously glanced at her fiancé, Olian. Sure enough, she saw that Olian was looking at Feng Yanran with appreciation. Mildy's face stiffened, but she did not quarrel with him. But they are not necessarily bad people. What if they are just ordinary people? If we don't save them, they will die. Feng Yanran bit her lips with grievance. Her eyes were full of pity as she looked at the floating people on the sea. Senior, save those people. There are no other ships nearby. They should not be pirates in disguise. O'Brien subconsciously helped Feng Yanran. Ming Shi released his divine sense and searched the surrounding 100 meters of sea area. Indeed, there were no other ships. Drive the ship over there and save the three people. Ming Shi ordered the helmsman at the helm. The helmsman responded and turned the ship to the position of the three people. After a few days of getting along, the crew could see who was the master of the 8 people, so they did not dare to disobey Ming Shi's orders. Great. Thank you, Senior Ming Shi. Feng Yanran was so happy that she almost cried. Ming Shi did not comment and slowly responded. There was no emotion in his eyes. However, O'Brien seemed to appreciate Feng Yanran's kindness very much. His eyes were looking at Feng Yanran, as if he did not see his fiancée standing next to him. The ship quickly drove over, and the crew pulled the 3 people out of the water. Only one of the 3 people still had a weak consciousness. The other 2 had already fainted. Among the 3 people, there was a young woman wearing a mage robe. The woman looked about 18 years old. The other 2 men were wearing swordsman robes. They looked a little older, but they were not more than 25 years old. Save the princess. After struggling to finish this sentence, the male swordsman who still had a weak consciousness also fainted. Hurry and help them into the cabin. When Feng Yanran saw that the last person had also fainted, she immediately ordered several crew members standing next to her. When the crew members saw that it was Feng Yanran who was speaking, this unbelievably beautiful woman, their faces were slightly red as they responded. Several people moved and helped the person inside. Seniors, I will leave the 2 men to you. I will help the girl change out of her wet clothes. After Feng Yanran finished speaking, her beautiful figure turned and hurriedly walked into the cabin. Humph, pretentious. Mildy looked at Feng Yanran's back with disdain and snorted. Hearing Mildy's disdainful words, Olian looked at her with disgust and followed her into the cabin. Orion, wait for me. Mildy didn't care about anything else. She chased after her fiancé and ran inside. Emogwe watched this farce and kept shaking his head. Sigh, I didn't expect that the 3 of them would become a triangle after just knowing each other for a few days. Ajur did not respond to him. He only looked unhappily in the direction that Feng Yanran disappeared. Feng Yanran really doesn't know the rules. Senior Ming, she didn't even say anything. She, a freshman, dares to order us around. I don't know if she has been spoiled by the men in the school. That's why she has such guts. Ajur had always had an unruly personality. Don't look at how he usually spoiled Fengwu and listened to her when he spoke. In fact, he was the most unruly person. Unless it was someone he recognized, he would not listen to anyone else. It was impossible to make him obedient without the strength that he recognized. Girls like Feng Yanran, who only had a beautiful appearance and weak strength, were even more impossible to make him yield. Riot, who had a calmer personality than the others, was not ordered by a junior. Junior Yanran is probably too worried about those three people. She probably didn't do it on purpose. Riot still couldn't bear to see a kind-hearted girl being hated by her classmates. Ajur was the new chief of the first grade. If he really hated Feng Yanran, it would not be good news for her. As a senior, if he could help a junior, he wouldn't mind a little help. Don't say any more. Let's go in and see those three people. Xiao Wu, go help Feng Yanran. Ming she didn't need to think to know that Mildy would definitely not help Fengwu. The only one who could help now was a girl like her. Fengwu nodded and walked directly into the cabin. When Ming Shi and the others entered the cabin, there were already 2 crew members helping the 2 men change their clothes. The only woman was nowhere to be seen. She should have been moved into a separate room. How are they? Ming Shi asked O'Brien, who was guarding at the side. Their injuries are not serious, but they have been drifting on the sea for many days without any fresh water or food. Their bodies are extremely weak now. And some of the small wounds on their bodies that were not serious have started to fester because they have been soaking in the water for so many days. They must be treated as soon as possible. I know. Ming Shi replied faintly and let the 2 crew members who had changed their clothes leave. After the crew members left, a faint purple light appeared in Ming Shi's hand. He didn't see how he moved, but the purple light in his hand carried a sense of vitality and flew to the 2 people. The wounds on their bodies quickly healed and soon there was only a shallow line of new flesh left. It's okay now. When they wake up, drink a bottle of recovery potion and eat something to replenish themselves. They will soon recover. Oh, Brian, you stay here. When they wake up, remember to ask them about their origins. After arranging the task for O'Brien, Ming Shi did not stay. Instead, he went to see the woman in the other cabin. In the other cabin, the 2 cousins, Fengwu and Feng Yanran, had helped her change her clothes. The clothes were Fengwu's. The clothes were too small for her. The woman's frame was bigger than Fengwu's. Wearing Fengwu's clothes was obviously not suitable for her. Feng Yanran had no choice but to take out a set of clothes that she had never worn before and put it on the woman. As a pharmacist student, Feng Yanran brought a lot of potions with her. Before helping the woman change her clothes, she fed her a bottle of recovery potion. Therefore, Ming Shi did not need to consume his magic to heal her. The woman's recovery was good. Ming Shi and the other men just glanced at her and left. They did not stay in the room for long. But before leaving, Ming Shi asked Feng Yanran to stay and watch the woman. If she woke up, she would ask about her origins. Chapter 265. The 3 of them had been unconscious for several hours, and by the time they woke up, the sky was already filled with stars. The 3 of them had received effective treatment, and naturally recovered quickly. The reason why they had been unconscious for several hours was because their bodies had been greatly damaged. After the 3 of them woke up, they could get out of bed and walk around. The 3 of them weren't seriously injured, so they didn't need to rest in bed. Since the 3 of them have woken up, did they tell us where they came from? Ming Shi sat in a chair, his hands unconsciously tapping on the table. Senior Ming Shi, according to what the 2 of them said, they are the personal bodyguards of the Bohai Kingdom's 3rd princess, Princess Hai Lin. O'Brien said. Bohai Kingdom? I know that country, I've read about it in a book. The Bohai Kingdom is a small kingdom on the sea, but their country is rich in resources, and their people have enough food and clothing. It's a good place. Mo Gue thought of a book he'd read about countries on the sea, and quickly found information about the Bohai Kingdom. The Heavenly Wind continent was vast, and there were many countries. Aside from the 4 great empires, there were many other large and small countries, but none of them dared to have any ideas about the 4 great empires. Even if they wanted to become the fifth great empire, they didn't want to kill any of the rulers of the four great empires. The descendants of the gods came to this continent with the mission of protecting the heavenly wind continent. If they made a move against any of the heirs of the four great empires, they would immediately become the targets of the other three empires, and at the same time become the targets of the Star Hall. The third princess' personal bodyguard? Could it be that the girl we saved is the Bohai Kingdom's Princess Hai Lin? Riot said suspiciously. Unexpectedly, Feng Yanran shook her head. No, the girl we saved is only the third princess cousin. She said herself that her name is Ilis, her mother is the sister of the Bohai Kingdom's empress, and her father is the Bohai Kingdom's great general, Duo. This time, Princess Hai Lin ran away from home because she was angry with the Bohai Kingdom's ruler. She didn't expect that not long after leaving the Bohai Kingdom's waters, she would encounter pirates. Princess Hai Lin was captured, and the other guards were also in danger. The reason why the three of them escaped was to inform the Bohai Kingdom to rescue Princess Hai Lin. So it was caused by a willful little princess who ran away from home. Ajur and the others quickly sorted out the ins and outs in their minds. And then? She wouldn't want us to help her rescue Princess Helene, would she? Ajur said with certainty. Feng Yanran nodded. Yes, that's what Elise said. She hopes that we can help save Princess Hai Lin. Once the princess is rescued, she will ask the Bohai Kingdom's royal family to reward us. Speaking of this, Feng Yanran was also somewhat helpless. As the young lady of the Feng family, she was not short of money or status. Her seniors and her classmates all had noble backgrounds. Although she did not know the identity of Ming Shi Sr., she thought that he would not be an ordinary noble. These people did not care about rewards at all. If she wanted to use rewards to get them to help save someone, then she was completely wrong. Rewards? I'm not interested. Rescuing them is already benevolent enough. She wants us to help save some princess. She really dares to mention it. Ajur sneered. He had no interest in the princess at all. What about the other two? What did they say? Ming Shi turned to look at O'Brien. O'Brien did not hide anything. They hope that we can help them rescue Princess Hai Lin. At the same time, they hope that we can help them contact the Bohai Kingdom's royal family or General Du Ao. Mo Gue frowned, a little unhappy. So many of them were defeated, and Princess Hai Lin was taken away. There are only 8 of us. If we really help them save her, I'm afraid we'll lose our lives as well. Mo Gue's words make sense. I think so too. We can't help them. Mildy agreed with Mo Gue's words. No, if we don't save her, what will happen to Princess Hai Lin? Those pirates are so cruel. We don't know what they will do to Princess Hai Lin. We can't just stand by and watch her die. Feng Yanran said disapprovingly. Knowing that you can't do anything, yet you still insist on rushing forward. That's called stupid. If you want to be stupid, why drag us in? Mildy couldn't bear to see Feng Yanran act like a saint. There's one thing that I haven't mentioned. The 2 guards said that the reason why they were completely wiped out was because a spy had infiltrated the ship. That spy had drugged the fresh water that they usually drank. That's why everyone on the ship was captured. The 3 of them only drank less water, so they were able to save some strength to escape with a teleportation scroll. After they escaped to the sea, they drifted for several days. If they hadn't met us, they probably wouldn't have been able to escape death. So that's how it is. That means that those pirates are not very strong. Otherwise, they would have just attacked directly. Why would they go through the trouble of drugging someone? Hearing this news, Feng Yanran breathed a sigh of relief. This way, no one would object to saving Princess Hai Lin. Thinking of this, she smiled at Orion who had said these words. Orion's heart moved, and his eyes were gentle. Seeing Feng Yanran openly flirting with her fiancé, Mildy gnashed her teeth in hatred. She hated Feng Yanran for shamelessly seducing her fiancé. Fortunately, she remembered that there were still outsiders present, so she didn't get into trouble with Orion. The strength of the pirates can't be seen from this point. Being able to capture Princess Hai Lin without spending a single soldier can only mean that those pirates had a plan in advance. They didn't attack because they were afraid that they had a way to contact the outside world. When the time came, it would be difficult to get foreign aid. Logically speaking, it's impossible for pirates to take the initiative to provoke the royal family. These pirates had planted a spy around Princess Hai Lin, which means that they had set their sights on Princess Hai Lin. It seems that those pirates want to use the princess to make a deal with the Bohai royal family. Princess Hai Lin's life won't be in danger for the time being. Emogue explained his thoughts. The actions of these pirates didn't seem like an ordinary robbery, but more like premeditated. No matter how one looked at it, their goal was certainly not small. Ming Shi nodded, agreeing with Emogue's idea. This was a carefully laid out trap. It was even possible that the pirates had deliberately let the three people escape so that they could contact the Bohai royal family and wait for the royal family to send someone to negotiate. Chapter 266. There were only 8 of them, and 4 of them were freshmen. The rest, other than the captain, Ming Shi, were only second-year students. With such combat strength, there was no way they could contend against those ferocious pirates. As the captain of this expedition, his responsibility was to ensure the safety of every student. Knowing that it was a tiger's den, he definitely wouldn't bring his juniors in. I think what Mogue said makes sense. Let's give the 3 of them a boat and let them return to Bohai. We're not far from Bohai anyway, so it won't take them long to get back. Ajur patted Emogue's shoulder in agreement. That's right. It's better if we don't get involved in this matter. I have a feeling that it's not that simple. Riot nodded in agreement. Is it really okay if we don't do anything? Ely said that those pirates are very ferocious. If they don't succeed in negotiating with Bohai, won't Princess Hai Lin and the others be dead? Feng Yanran said anxiously when she saw that no one wanted to save them. Prepare a boat for them. We won't get involved in this matter. Let the Bohai royal family deal with it themselves. Ming Shi didn't respond to Feng Yanran's words. He only announced his choice indifferently. Ming Shi was the captain of this expedition team and held a leading position. Everyone had to listen to his words. Hearing Ming Shi's words, the others, including Feng Wu, didn't care. Bohai's matter had nothing to do with them in the first place. Saving the escapees and providing a boat for them to return to report was already the most benevolent thing they could do. Only Feng Yanran reluctantly shut her mouth. She knew that Ming Shi was the captain of this team. She had no right to refute his words. After discussing the matter of the 3 guards of the Bohai princess, Ming Shi and the others returned to their rooms to rest. They only had to send the 3 of them off the next day. The next morning, Ming Shi and the others had just woken up and were sitting in the cabin eating breakfast. Breakfast was fish porridge cooked by the crew. The porridge was fragrant and smooth, very delicious. Even little Bun Feng Yi drank a small bowl. Little White was a responsible nanny and took good care of little Bun Feng Yi. If it was just Feng Wu taking care of Feng Yi, it was not certain if Feng Yi could still grow up so healthily. Halfway through breakfast, Mildy rushed in anxiously. As soon as she entered the door, she looked around and did not find the person she was looking for. Her face turned even uglier. What's wrong? Mildy's expression was so ugly that it was obvious that something was wrong. Mildy did not look at Riot, who was asking the question. Instead, she walked directly to Ming Shi with an extremely ugly expression. Captain, the people in Bohai Sea have all disappeared. O'Brien and Feng Yanran have also disappeared with them. What? Everyone was shocked. What's going on? Ming Shi's expression changed. Although there was still a faint smile on his face, his smile was somewhat cold. Mildy also knew the seriousness of this matter. She did not dare to hide it and immediately told him what she knew. This morning, Mildy got up and washed up as usual. She did not expect to find that Feng Yanran, who usually woke up around the same time as her, had disappeared. Her bed was neatly folded. It was obvious that she had been up for a while. Mildy did not like Feng Yanran. Naturally, She would not care about whether Feng Yenran had left early or not. She was too lazy to care about when Feng Yenran woke up. Mildy did not care. After washing up, she went to find her fiancé to have breakfast together. However, when she went to O'Brien's room, she found that O'Brien had already left. She caught a crew member and asked about O'Brien's whereabouts. From the crew member, she found out that Feng Yenran and O'Brien had left with the 3 people from Bohai Sea in the latter half of the night yesterday. The crew members did not know that they had secretly left, so they did not mention it in front of Ming Shi. It was not until Illis asked that they found out that those people did not have the permission of others to leave. Mildy could not believe that her fiancé had secretly left with another woman behind her back. She directly ignored the other 3 people. In order to prove that the crew member was lying, she went to the cabin where the 3 people from Bohai Sea were temporarily staying. As expected, there was no one inside. She then ran to the dining area to see if O'Brien was eating with everyone here. When she did not see O'Brien there, she completely gave up. She accepted the fact that her fiancé had abandoned her and left with another woman. Damn it, those 2 are too good at causing trouble. They have no sense of teamwork at all. Emogue was furious. Did those 2 people have any brains? Even Senior Ming Shi had said that they could not do anything about it. Those 2 people still ran away with the people from Bohai Sea. Did they think that they were saviors? Go, call the crew in and ask them the specific time they left. Ming Shi's eyes were cold. It was obvious that he was in a very bad mood. As a captain, the most annoying thing was to meet these kinds of confused team members. These kinds of people were usually professional at trapping their teammates. As the person who had been tricked the most and had to clean up the mess, Ming Shi's mood at the moment could be imagined. Fengwu felt that Ming Shi was not in a good mood. Her small hand gently pulled on his finger, not knowing how to make him feel better. Feeling the warmth from his fingertips, Ming Shi held Fengwu's small hand and told her that he was fine. The crew was quickly brought in. They did not know what had happened and were a little confused. Although they did not understand what had happened, they were not nervous. Adair, the man and woman who came on the ship with us. Did they leave with the 3 people we saved last night? Ajur asked when he saw Ada come in. Ada thought about it and roughly understood what had happened, so he said honestly, "Yes, in the second half of last night, Miss Feng Yenran and Master Brian led the 3 people to ask for small boats. They asked for 2 boats at once. There were only 2 boats on the ship for escape. How could we give them both away at once? My father did not agree at first, but Master O'Brien gave them 100 gold coins. This was not a small amount of money, so my father finally agreed to give them both boats. A boat could sit at most 6 people. Including Feng Yenran and O'Brien, there were only 5 people on the boat. There was no need for another boat. It seemed that they wanted to split into 2 groups. One group would go back to report, and the other group would go to the pirates' lair to check. Chapter 267. It's okay, duh. You can go back to work. Riot sent a duh away. After a duh left, the atmosphere in the cabin was a little heavy. Damn Feng Yenran. If she wants to die, she can die by herself. Why did she have to drag my O'Brien with her? This woman is simply a disaster. She only knows how to seduce men. Mildy was scared and sad. She was afraid that her fiancé would be in danger. At that time, he might not even be able to keep his life. She was also sad that O'Brien had not thought about her, his fiancé. If he had thought about her, he would not have left his fiancé behind and left with another woman. If this matter was spread, how would others look at them? Did he not think about this at all? It's useless to scold them now. Think about what to do now. Riot was also angry, but he knew that it was useless to be angry now. It was reasonable to think about what to do. Don't worry about them. If those 2 want to die, then let them. We've already made it clear yesterday. If the 2 of them insist on doing what they want, then even if they die outside, they can't blame it on the rest of us, Ajur said emotionlessly. Clearly, he didn't care about the lives of those 2. Although Ajur's words were not pleasant to hear, they were very reasonable. For these people who didn't listen to the command, even if they died outside, the school wouldn't blame others because they were disobedient. No, I don't care about Feng Yenran's life or death. But O'Brien was bewitched by Feng Yenran. Captain, we can't ignore O'Brien. Mildy really loved her fiancé. Even if she was hurt by O'Brien, she still cared about his safety wholeheartedly. Bewitched by Feng Yenran? How come all the unmarried men weren't bewitched, but he, an engaged man, was bewitched? Ajur said with a sneer. Hearing this, Mildy's face turned pale. She had loved O'Brien since she was a child. Even if she knew that she didn't have a place in his heart, she still loved him so deeply. She hoped that one day, her love could move him. She didn't expect that in the end, it wasn't her who made him stare at her, but a woman whom he had only known for a few days. Mildy couldn't tell others about the bitterness in her heart. Although her heart ached for her fiancé's betrayal, she was more worried about his safety. She really couldn't stand by and do nothing. Mildy stood in front of Ming Shi and bowed deeply. Captain, I beg you. Please save O'Brien. I really don't want anything to happen to him. What do you guys think? Ming Shi did not respond to Mildy's question. Instead, he looked at the others. Let's go and take a look. If something really happens to the two of them, we'll be in trouble too. Considering that they were classmates, Riot really couldn't sit back and watch his classmates die. I don't care if I go or not. Emogue shrugged. I'll listen to you, Fengwu said. I'll leave it to you, Senior Ming Shi, Ajur finally said. 10 minutes later, Fengwu and the others finally came to a conclusion. Ming Shi decided to bring Feng Yenran back. The two of them had been gone for several hours. It would be impossible to catch up to them in a short period of time. Although they couldn't catch up to them, they could figure out where they went. If we want to find them, we have to find the pirate's lair. They must have gone there. Where is the pirate's lair? I don't know, but I heard from the two guards that it was the Red Skull pirates who kidnapped Princess Helene. Now that they knew the name of the pirate group, it was easy to find them. Pirates had their own islands to live on. Those islands were used to store the treasures that the pirates looted. It was also the place where the pirates lived when they weren't at sea. Simply put, it was the lair of the pirate group. If they wanted to find the Red Skull's lair, they would need someone who was very familiar with the nearby sea area to lead the way. There were several crew members on this ship, and the captain had more than 50 years of sailing experience. When the captain heard that Ming Shi and the others were going to find the Red Skull's lair, his first reaction was that these people didn't want to live anymore. Who was the Red Skull? They were a group of pirates who killed without blinking. The number of people who died in their hands was countless. When they saw the Red Skull, it was too late to hide. Who would want to go up to them? Wasn't that just courting death? Young masters and young ladies, it's better if you don't go. The Red Skull is not easy to provoke. I heard that their leader is a great sword master, and the two vice leaders under the leader also have the strength of a great sword master. The Red Skull has more than 300 people, and these 300 people are all extraordinary. You only have a few people. If you go to find trouble with the Red Skull, wouldn't you be courting death? The old captain was worried. He was most worried about himself and his crew members. He didn't want to bring his own people to accompany these young ladies and young masters to their deaths. Don't worry, Captain. We just want to know where the Red Skull's lair is. We won't let you lead the way. Originally, Ming Shi didn't have the idea of letting the old captain lead the way, but after thinking about it, he gave up. If they offended the Red Skull, they could leave directly, but the captain's family still had to live in the coastal area. If they offended these pirates, they wouldn't have a way to survive in the future. After being seen through, the old captain didn't have time to be embarrassed. He was greatly relieved. As long as he didn't need to lead his crew to their deaths, it didn't matter. The old captain also saw that these people were determined to find the Red Skull, so he didn't persuade them. He just opened the sea map and pointed to one of the islands on the map. It's here. This place is called Demon Wind Island. It's named after the first generation of the Red Skull pirates, Demon Wind. The current leader is said to be the 5th-generation grandson of Demon Wind. Demon Wind Island. Knowing where the Red Skull's lair was, it was very helpful to find Feng Yenran and the others. The sea map attached to Demon Wind Island had been drawn by the old captain. The sea map drawn by the old captain was relatively accurate. Even if there was a deviation, it couldn't be too big. The Red Skull's lair was found, but the arrangement of personnel was put on the agenda. It was impossible for all of them to go to Feng Yenran and the others. There were still tasks waiting for them to complete on Three Leaves Island. In the end, Ming-Shi decided to only take Feng Wu and Ajur with him. Both of them were the masters of the artifacts. If they really fought, the lethality of these two people was not a joke. If they had powerful weapons with great lethality, of course, he would take them with him. Mildy wanted to go, but unfortunately, Ming-Shi didn't take her with the reason that she was not strong enough. Chapter 268. Why can Feng Wu go? No matter what, I'm in the 2nd year and she's only in the 1st year. In terms of strength, isn't she lower than me? Zhu Erdi pointed at Feng Wu and said, very unconvinced. Feng Wu blinked and didn't respond. If you can beat Feng Wu, it's not a problem to bring you along. Ming-Shi said as if nothing had happened. Did this mean that she couldn't even beat a 1st-year student? Being looked down on like this, of course Murdy was angry. She angrily challenged Feng Wu. Feng Wu readily agreed. In a competition, Feng Wu only used 2 strikes to KO Murdy. Originally, music students weren't very strong in the 1st and 2nd years, so it wasn't strange that Feng Wu defeated her so easily. However, Murdy couldn't figure it out. Losing to a 1st-year student like Feng Wu, Murdy was deeply aware of her lack of strength. In the following days, she began to train like crazy. This kind of crazy training wasn't without benefits. At the very least, after a year, Murdy successfully squeezed into the top 10. However, this was all for later, so let's not talk about it now. Murdy's defeat forced her to agree to go with Imogue and Riot to the Three Leaves Island to do the mission and wait for them to return. Ming-Shi let Riot take care of the two and then took Feng Wu and Ajur off the ship to the nearest trading island. Watching the ship take the 3 away, Ming-Shi turned and left with the 2. Evil Wind Island was a full 5 days sailing distance from the trading island they were on. In order to find Feng Yenran and O'Brien as soon as possible, Ming-Shi bought a ship at the port and took it to Evil Wind Island. When Feng Wu and the others were rushing to Evil Wind Island, Feng Yenran and the other 3 were also on the way. Why was it 4 people? It was because the daughter of the general, Eris, had already sailed a small boat back to Bohai to report. This had been discussed before they boarded the ship. Feng Yenran sat on the boat and looked at the sea around her. Her small face was full of worry. O'Brien's heart ached so much that he wished he could wipe away the worry on her face. Yenran, what happened to you? Nothing. I'm just worried that the seniors will be worried about us if we run out like this. Feng Yenran was listless. Feng Yenran had no idea where they were going, and she didn't know how powerful Red Skull was. Princess Helene's 2 guards were not stupid. If they knew the true strength of Red Skull, they would not be willing to go with them to save people. Therefore, along the way, Feng Yenran and O'Brien only knew that the Red Skull was a relatively large pirate group, and they knew nothing else. Hearing that Feng Yenran was worried about this, O'Brien smiled gently, and a trace of gentleness appeared on his cold face. Don't worry, I'm sure that Senior Ming-Shi is already on his way to find us, he said confidently. You're saying that Senior Ming-Shi will come to find us? Feng Yenran didn't have much confidence in whether Ming-Shi would come to find them or not. After all, they were the ones who didn't listen to the captain's command and acted on their own. Even if Senior Ming-Shi didn't care about them, no one would say anything. Silly girl, your mother is Teacher Feng Tianqing. Even if it's for Teacher Feng's sake, Senior Ming-Shi will definitely not leave us alone, and Mildy would definitely beg Senior Ming-Shi to come find them. Of course, he couldn't say these words in front of the girl he liked, so he stopped talking. Feng Yenran didn't hear the strangeness in his words. After listening to O'Brien's explanation, Feng Yenran was relieved. As the chief of the 5th years, Ming Shi's strength couldn't be underestimated. With him joining them, it would be easier for them to save people. If that's the case, then that's great. Princess Helene and those who were captured with her are too pitiful. No matter what, I hope to help Princess Helene and the others. Yenran, you're really a kind girl. O'Brien looked at Feng Yenran dotingly, and a belief that he could do anything for this girl rose in his heart. Ming Shi didn't know that O'Brien had been scheming against them from the beginning in order to make Feng Yenran happy. He had already seen that Ming Shi wouldn't leave Feng Yenran alone. He even knew the character of his fiancée clearly. If Ming Shi knew the truth, he didn't know if he would still care about them. It had to be said that O'Brien was really smart. He had calculated everything. The only thing he didn't think of was the true strength of Red Skull. He only cared about making Feng Yenran happy and didn't put a group of pirates in his eyes at all. This also doomed him to have a tragic ending. Ming Shi and the others chased after them at full speed for 5 days. Unfortunately, they didn't meet Feng Yenran and the others until they were close to the location of Demon Wind Island. Ming Shi and the others had no choice but to find a way to sneak into the island. We can't drive the boat over. There's a lookout. We will definitely be discovered. Ajur stopped the boat and didn't dare to move forward. This is really troublesome. Do we really have to swim over? Ming Shi was also a little troubled in the face of this situation. It was not a simple matter to swim from this position to Demon Wind Island. It might take several hours to swim to the shore. If they were unlucky and were discovered as soon as they went ashore, their physical strength would be almost exhausted after swimming for a few hours. They would definitely be at a disadvantage if they fought. If we don't have the instant transmission scroll, we can definitely move to the island. Ajur's eyes lit up. No. Although the instant transmission scroll is useful, the location of the teleport is random. What if we are unlucky and fall into a group of bandits? Ming Shi rejected the idea without even thinking about it. The two of them discussed the matter of entering Bewitching Wind Island without being discovered for half an hour, but they still couldn't come to a conclusion. While the two men were discussing business, Feng Wu was sitting at the stern of the boat and playing with the water. If Ming Shi and the others walked over now, they would see that there was a large group of fish around Feng Wu's feet. There were all kinds of fish, big and small. Because these little things didn't have any killing intent, Ming Shi and the others didn't notice anything strange and were still immersed in their discussion. After playing with her new friends for a while, Feng Wu found that there were more kinds of creatures in the sea than on the ground. She was very happy to have made a lot of new friends. After having enough fun, Feng Wu walked towards Ming Shi and the others. Before she even got close, she heard the two talking. How about we swim over? Ming Shi said. I'm not a good swimmer. Ajur was a fire mage. He hated water. There was no way he would stay in the water for a few hours just because of two troublemakers. Hang in there. Ming Shi was aware of Ajur's situation, but since they couldn't use the instant transmission scroll and they couldn't use magic to clear a path, it was the safest option. Chapter 269. I don't want to. The rejection was very firm. What are you talking about? Feng Wu walked over and looked at the two with her big black eyes. We are talking about how to enter Bewitching Wind Island without attracting attention. Xiao Wu, you came just in time. Let's think of a way. How do you think we can enter Bewitching Wind Island without using a boat, magic scrolls, magic, or swimming? Ming Shi. You might as well fly over, really, Feng Wu. I will ask my friend to take us there. Her friend was very powerful. Just now, he said that he would take her to the bottom of the sea to play. He would definitely be able to send them to the island. Friend. Ming Shi and Ajur were puzzled. Yes, new friends. Come with me. The corners of Feng Wu's mouth curved, and she led the two to the stern of the boat. When they approached the stern, the two noticed that they were actually surrounded by a large group of water-type magical beasts. These water-type magical beasts were obediently gathered at the stern of the boat. They didn't make any noise, nor did they have any intention to attack. Magical beasts were obviously not very friendly with each other, But now, these large and small water-type magical beasts were getting along very well. This was simply too inconceivable. No wonder he and Senior Mingshi hadn't discovered these fellows. These little things didn't release any killing intent, and the two of them didn't deliberately use their mental strength to observe their surroundings. No wonder the two of them didn't discover anything strange with so many water-type magical beasts gathered. These are your friends? Although Ming-Shi knew that Fengwu had an affinity with plants, he didn't expect that this affinity was also applicable to animals. Yes, they are my new friends. Fengwu looked at her new friends with a smile. Xiao Wu, you didn't mean that we should sit on them, right? Ajur pointed at the group of magical beasts that seemed to be friendly at the moment. If he really treated them as harmless little rabbits, then he would be a fool. No. Fengwu shook her head, then pointed to a huge gray water-type magical beast. This magical beast's body was relatively large among the water-type magical beasts, and it looked very imposing. Ming-Shi and Ajur could tell at a glance what kind of magic beast this was. This kind of magic beast was called the deep-sea demon lion. It looked like an ordinary sea lion, but its body was much bigger than an ordinary sea lion. Moreover, its attack power was astonishing. This is my friend, Lion Lion. Lion Lion's stomach is very big. We can hide in Lion Lion's stomach. This way, we won't have to worry about being discovered. Fengwu beckoned with her finger, and the deep-sea demonic lion named Sheshe swam over. It used its huge head to carefully rub against Fengwu's small face. Ming-Shi and Ajur exchanged a look. This method seemed to be good. With the agreement of the three parties, the three first found a place to stop the ship, and then asked Fengwu's water-type magical beast friends to help look after them. The three people entered Lion Lion's big mouth and successfully entered Lion Lion's stomach. Lion Lion swung its tail in the water and happily swam towards Demon Wind Island. While Fengwu and the other two were rushing towards Demon Wind Island, O'Brien and Feng Yanran were in a very bad situation. They wanted to sneak onto the island, but who would have thought that when the ship was docked at a hidden reef, a large number of pirates would appear and surround them. In the end, all four of them were locked up in prison. Only now did O'Brien realize that he had made a mistake. These were not ordinary pirates. They were clearly the famous Red Skull pirates. At this time, O'Brien realized that they had been deceived by these two people. Bang! O'Brien punched one of the guards in the face, and that guard was immediately punched to the wall and fiercely spat out a large mouthful of blood. Ogre! The other guard angrily glared at O'Brien, his eyes filled with hatred. You are too much. Why did you hit Ogre? He wanted to rush over and fight O'Brien. At this time, the guard named Ogre pulled back the other guard who wanted to seek justice for him. Don't go to Bank Crow, it is our fault. We should not have concealed the matter of the Red Skull pirates from the beginning. Ogre was not a fool. How could he not understand the reason why he was beaten? He could only bitterly smile. He and Bankello had no other choice. If they went back to report the matter, the two of them would definitely be severely punished. If they could save Princess Helen, then they would naturally be able to atone for their crimes. Not only would they not be punished, but they would also be promoted. Originally, they only wanted to return to the Bohai Kingdom and inform the royal family that the princess had been captured as soon as possible. They did not expect that they would be rescued by a group of people with special identities. After they were rescued, they learned a few things about their saviors. They knew that they were all top students from the Notre Dame du Starlight. The strength of the students of the Notre Dame du Starlight could not be underestimated. With their help, they might be able to save the princess before the royal family sent people over. Before they were rescued, they did not even dare to think about saving the princess alone without relying on the Bohai Kingdom's army. But after they found out who the people who saved them were, this idea had always been in their minds. They also asked their saviors to save the princess together. But they did not expect that the leader of the group of students did not want to save the princess with them. He only promised to give them a boat and some food to return to the Bohai Kingdom to report. This was completely different from their plan. Fortunately, things did not completely make them despair. Among the group of people, there was a very kind girl. She agreed to save the princess with them. They did not want to drag the little girl down with them, but they had no other choice. If they lost the princess, the punishment they would suffer would not be so good. They might even have to apologize with their lives. Someone was willing to save the princess with them. Even if it was just one person, they did not want to miss it. After the little girl agreed to save the princess, another boy also agreed to go with them. They could all see that O'Brien only cared about Feng Yenron's safety. Otherwise, why would he take the initiative to agree to help them? No matter what O'Brien's purpose was, they were the ones who benefited in the end, and that was enough. They knew that O'Brien was not Feng Yenran. If they told him that their opponent was the Red Skull Pirates, he might immediately take Feng Yenran back. In order to save the princess with two more powerful forces, they chose to hide this matter. They did not expect that their rescue operation would end just as it began. O'Brien, stop fighting. How can you be so casual? Feng Yenran stood between the two of them and looked at O'Brien in disbelief. Chapter 270. She had always thought that O'Brien was a kind-hearted person since he had followed her to save Princess Helena. Otherwise, he would not have been so upset with Senior Ming Shi and the others for not saving her. Yenran, do you still not understand what these two fellows have done? They deliberately hid the matter of the Red Skull Gang and deliberately lured us here to die with them. O'Brien's originally cold and handsome face was somewhat distorted. Feng Yenron's actions of protecting the two of them even now made him feel very uncomfortable. Feng Yenran was shocked when she heard this, and then she opened her mouth wide in shock. No, how is this possible? Why would they do this? In Feng Yenron's mind, they had no enmity with Ogre and Bonko. Why would the two of them do such a thing that harms others without benefiting themselves? Yenran, you are too kind. You don't know how evil people can be. O'Brien smiled coldly. Isn't it obvious why they are doing this? They want to find two free laborers to help them save Princess Helena, so that they can atone for their crimes. O'Brien had grown up in a big family since he was young, and it was not that he had never experienced scheming. At first, he did not think too much about it because he was worried about Feng Yenran, but now, with the appearance of the Red Skull Gang, what else could he not think of? Ogre and Bonko blushed in embarrassment when their intentions were exposed so mercilessly. Feng Yenran turned around in disbelief and saw the two people behind her. Even if she was stupid, she knew that she had been schemed against. You are too much. Feng Yenran, who had lived a simple life since she was young, had never thought that there would be such evil people in the world. Feng Tianqing had always protected Feng Yenran well. Other than teaching her swordsmanship and helping her improve her strength, he had almost never let her touch those evil things. Feng Yenran's thoughts were still relatively simple at the moment. At least, she had never thought of taking the initiative to harm anyone. Feng Yenran was so sad that her eyes turned red. It was the first time she had been deceived. Seeing Feng Yenran so sad, Ao Gu and the other man lowered their heads in regret. They had a very good impression of this girl who was as beautiful as a goddess and had a very kind heart. They really didn't want to make her sad. Yenran, don't worry about them. Senior Ming Shi should come to save us. When the time comes, we'll leave with Senior Ming Shi. Let them solve their own problems. What Princess Hai Lin? Let them save her on their own. O'Brien was never a person who would repay evil with good. If it were not for the fact that he did not want to kill in front of Feng Yenran, he would have already done it. He would never let the two people who dared to lie to him live until now. But Princess Hai Lin is innocent. We can't just leave her be. Feng Yenran shook her head. Thinking of the poor Princess Hai Lin, she could not convince herself to leave. O'Brien felt extremely helpless. Yenran, you're really too kind. They've set you up, yet you still want to help them save the princess. Yenran's kindness reminded him of his fiancée, Mildy. Although Mildy was his fiancée, he had never loved her. Mildy was a narrow-minded and jealous person. As long as there was a girl who showed the slightest bit of interest towards him, Mildy would immediately go forward to teach them a lesson. Her unruly and willful style made O'Brien very unhappy. If Mildy was half as kind as Yen Ran, he would not be so disgusted with her. "I'm sorry, Miss Yen Ran. It's all our fault. We shouldn't have chosen to deceive you for our own selfish reasons. At this time, you can still think of saving the princess. We're really ashamed." Ao Gur and Bonko looked at Feng Yen Ran with shame. There was a trace of infatuation, appreciation, and love in their eyes. "Don't do this kind of thing next time. No matter what your purpose is, it's wrong to deceive people." Feng Yen Ran smiled slightly. Her smile was gentle and holy. O'Brien stood aside and looked at Feng Yen Ran with admiration and pride as she forgave the two of them. This was the woman he fell in love with. She was so special, so kind, and so fascinating. Ming Shi and the others naturally did not know what happened in a prison on Monster Wind Island. The three people who went to save the princess did not know that Feng Yen Ran and O'Brien were waiting for them to come and save Hai Lin together. If they knew that they were still planning to do this, the three of them might immediately turn around and leave. With the help of Lion, the three people were sent ashore in a cave without alerting anyone on the island. Night came quietly. Near an inconspicuous bush, three patrolling pirates were peeing together. "Old A, what do you think the captain wants to do? He actually kidnapped the princess of the Bohai Kingdom. Is the princess so easy to kidnap? If the masters of the Bohai Kingdom arrive, we will definitely become cannon fodder." "That's right. Old B, I don't know what the captain is thinking. I feel that ever since the captain came back from his trip last time, his thoughts have become strange. The captain clearly warned us not to have any ideas about the royal ships nearby. Why did the captain make an exception this time? Do you think that the captain encountered something outside last time? Otherwise, how could there be such a big change?" Old C carefully guessed. "How would we know? Even if the captain really encountered something, he would not tell us small fries. I heard that 4 people were caught today. There is indeed such a thing. I was also present when they captured her. There was a woman who was extremely beautiful. She was much more beautiful than the princess of Bohai country. Do you guys think that after guild leader is done with that woman, he can let us have some fun too?" Dream on. That kind of beauty must be enjoyed by the captain alone. How could we enjoy it? Even if we can't touch the beauties, we can at least touch the maids by the princess side. Although those maids aren't extremely beautiful, they are still pretty. Why doesn't the leader allow us to touch those maids? How would I know? If I didn't say it, I wouldn't have thought about it. Hearing you say this, I suddenly realized something. Old B, who was speaking, pulled up his pants. "What is it?" Old A and Old C hurriedly asked. The two of them also pulled up their pants and hurriedly fastened their belts with both hands. The captain actually didn't let the beautiful woman we caught today serve him. Don't you think that's strange? If it was in the past, the captain would have already started eating if he caught such a high-quality product. However, that beauty has been caught for so long, and the captain didn't even move an inch. Don't you think that's strange? Could it be that the captain suffered some unspeakable injury when he went out last time? The three of them exchanged a look that all men understood. Chapter 271. That's very likely. Otherwise, why would the captain suddenly become a vegetarian? The three of them were chatting happily and had no idea that danger was approaching. By the time the three of them realized that something was wrong, it was already too late. The three of them only saw a flash of a sword, and they didn't feel any pain. Just like that, they closed their eyes forever. Change into their clothes. Ming Shi put away his sword and looked at the 3 corpses on the ground. Feng Wu and Ajur nodded. The three of them took off the clothes from one of the corpses and then hid behind a bush to change. When the 3 of them changed and came out, Ming Shi and Ajur were still okay. The 3 pirates' bodies were not bad, and the clothes fit them well. However, after Feng Wu put on the pirate clothes, she looked like a child who had stolen adult clothes. The more she looked at it, the more amused she became. "Xiao Wu, you shouldn't go. If you go, no one will think that there's something wrong with you. Ajur couldn't help but laugh. Fengwu wearing the clothes was too comedic. Ahem, Ajur is right. Xiao Wu, you should find another opportunity to go in. If things don't work out, just go back to the cave and wait for us to come back. Even Ming, she was having a hard time holding back his laughter. Fengwu looked at the two of them unhappily. The clothes were too small. What was so funny about it? These two bad people. The pirates on Bewitching Wind Island were all tall and strong. Even the worst of them was at least half a head taller than Fengwu. With Fengwu's small body, it was no doubt a joke to pretend to be a pirate. Fengwu was left behind because of her small body. Ajur and Ming, she used a simple camouflage to change their appearance, making them look exactly like two of the pirates. The two of them pretended to be pirates and openly walked into the luxurious castle built by the pirates. Old A, Old C, where's Old B? The three of you went to pee together. Why are only the two of you back? Things didn't get off to a good start. As soon as he entered the castle, he was caught by the colleagues of the original owner. Ajur calmly turned around. In front of him was a rough man with a scar on his face. This man seemed to be very familiar with the original owner. This situation was not good. Being familiar with the original owner meant that she was familiar with the original owner's personality and the way she did things. If she wasn't careful, she would be exposed. Old B said he had a stomachache and hid behind the bushes to do something important. We didn't want to stay there and smell the stench, so we came back first. Ajur tried his best to imitate the original owner's voice. He just hoped that the guy in front of him didn't have a pair of fiery eyes. Old B, that guy deserves it. Who told him to eat an extra leg of that demon girl? It would be strange if he didn't have a stomachache. After that person finished gloating, he changed the topic and said, "If the two of you have nothing to do, come with me first. The captain needs some help. With the two of you, there should be enough people." What captain? Ming Shi and Ajur exchanged a helpless look. At this time, there were people coming and going. It was impossible to kill this guy and escape. Now, they could only go with him to see the captain. They just hoped that the captain wasn't someone powerful and wouldn't discover their disguise. They followed the guy who seemed to be an acquaintance of the original owner to the end of the corridor and entered a very inconspicuous room. Then, the man turned the torch on the wall to the side. The stone slab on the ground slowly moved away until a staircase leading to the underground appeared in front of them. The two of them carefully concealed the surprise in their eyes and did not reveal the slightest flaw on their faces. That person did not notice it either. After opening the passage, he was the first to walk down the stairs. Ming Shi and Ajur had no choice but to follow him. Whether it was Ming Shi or Ajur, the two of them didn't think that Bewitching Wind Island would have an underground space. They had all kinds of guesses about this passage. Ming Shi and Ajur. Is this the way to the dungeon? Are they so lucky that they found the dungeon so easily? Although the two of them had guesses, they didn't stop walking and kept following the man. In the underground passage, the two sides of the passage weren't very wide. It could only allow 3 people to walk side by side. From time to time, people would pass through the passage. Occasionally, they would meet 1 or 2 acquaintances who would greet them. Fortunately, the two of them were fooled and didn't get suspected. The 3 of them walked for more than 10 minutes and met many people along the way. On the way, they could hear a lot of noise coming from the front. They knew that more people had gathered there. It seemed that Bewitching Wind Island wasn't like what the outside world thought. It was just a pirate group with 300 people. The 300 people were probably just for show. As for how many pirates there were on Bewitching Wind Island, no one could say for sure. In any case, it was more than 300 people. The man led the disguised Ming Shi and Ajur around a few times and finally stopped in front of a stone room. The man who led the way told Ajur and Ming Shi to wait outside while he went in to report. The two of them quickly nodded and the man walked in alone. After a while, he came out and led the two of them into the stone room. "Captain, it's these two. This is Old A and Old C. They came to the island 10 years ago. Although they're not very strong, they're quite capable. It won't be a problem to leave this to them." As he spoke, The man gave Ming Shi and Ajur a look. The two understood and immediately imitated the man's attitude. They nodded and bowed in front of the captain to greet him. "Hello, Captain. I'm Old A, and this is Old C. No matter what you want us to do, we'll definitely do it for you." Ajur put on a fawning look in front of the captain, and acted quite well. "Yes, yes." Ming Shi happily let Ajur go forward. He really wasn't good at dealing with this kind of situation. Just the two of them. Aback, tell them about the matter. Remember to work hard for this captain. If this matter is done well, you won't be short of benefits. The slightly chubby captain waved his hand and dismissed the three of them like he was shooing away flies. Only now did the two of them know that the man who led them here was called Aback. After leaving the captain's stone room, Aback brought the two of them to the side and started assigning tasks. "Listen up, this is a chance for you two to advance. If this matter is done well, you won't be short of benefits." The two of them hurriedly pretended to be modest and repeatedly thanked Aback for threatening them. After hearing enough good words, Aback told them about the mission the captain gave them. This mission wasn't simple, but it wasn't difficult either. It turned out that the captain was a perverted demon who had taken a fancy to one of Princess Helene's maids. This maid was Princess Helene's head maid. She was very beautiful and the captain had taken a fancy to her. However, the captain had ordered that no one was allowed to have any ideas about those women. Chapter 272. The captain was quite bold. He actually wanted to sneak them out and send them back after playing with them. If he wanted to do this, he had to find some unfamiliar faces to do it. Who didn't know the captain's subordinates? If he had them do it, wouldn't he be rushing to tell others that he was the one who did it? So, Aback helped the captain come up with an idea and found two inconspicuous people to do it. Even if they were discovered later, as long as they pushed the blame to those two, who could blame it on them? The captain felt that this was a good idea and nodded in agreement. He had Aback take care of it. Aback thought about it. Among the people he knew who were inconspicuous and didn't have any status were Little A and the other two. Those three were the sons of the fishermen raised on the island. They looked ordinary and didn't have outstanding strength. None of the captains took them in as subordinates. They usually patrolled and did odd jobs. Their presence was so low that it was almost negative. Naturally, Aback couldn't tell them everything. How could he tell them to do this? He wanted them to be cannon fodder and bear the responsibility. Ming Shi and Ajur weren't the only ones who knew about this. Their identities weren't simple, and they had seen their fair share of tricks like this. It wasn't hard for them to guess what Aback and that unknown captain were up to. However, they were still impersonating others. At this time, they could only nod and agree to whatever Aback said. They didn't dare to speak carelessly and expose themselves. The two tried their best to act as insignificant people in front of Aback. Their acting wasn't very good. Fortunately, Aback didn't spend much time with them and didn't expose any flaws. "This is the key. Take it. This is a map. I've already circled the room where the maids are being held. You won't go wrong if you follow the map. When you find the place, tell the guards that you're there to change shifts. The guards will naturally leave. While you're on duty, no one will disturb you. Take advantage of that time to bring the maids out. After you bring them out, there will naturally be people outside to receive them. When the captain is done, someone will send them back. What you need to do is to guard the door. If anyone comes to ask, just say that there is no problem." Aback explained to the two of them what their mission was. It sounded simple, but the risk wasn't small. If someone went in to investigate during that time, wouldn't the two of them become cannon fodder? Although they didn't think much of it, who asked them to pretend to be cannon fodder? The two of them put away the map and walked towards the room marked on the map with the key. This underground space was built like a maze. If they didn't have the map, it would be very difficult for them to find the room. Fortunately, they had the map. Although the map only marked the route to the room, they could only slowly explore the other routes. They made many turns in the underground passageway, passing by one stone room after another. Many pirates also brushed past them. With great difficulty, they finally turned into a deserted area. The two of them immediately hid in a stone room filled with junk and closed the door behind them. "Senior Ming Shi, what should we do now?" Ajur didn't think that they would be so lucky. They had just disguised themselves as small fries and they were already targeted. They wanted to secretly rescue them, so of course, the more low-key they were, the better. Now that they had shown their faces in front of the captain and aback, although it wasn't their face, it wasn't a good thing. "Let's follow the map and find the maid. See if we can get anything out of her," Ming Shi said after pondering for a moment. "Didn't we just come to find Feng Yenran and O'Brien? How could that maid know anything about the two of them? Unless it was a coincidence that they were all locked in the same stone room. However, that possibility was too low to be true." "Who told you that I was going to ask about them? I just want to see if I can find out the purpose of the pirates from the maid. Red Skull has always been a pirate group that knows their limits. Although they have been robbing passing merchant ships and fishing boats, they also have their own principles, which is to never provoke a big force that they can't afford to provoke. It's unusual for them to take the initiative to make a move on Princess Helene. Think about what those three people said in the bushes. If I'm not wrong, there might be a big problem with the captain of the Red Skull Pirates." Ajur recalled the conversation between the three guys, and his eyes flashed. At that time, he was just in a hurry to change his identity and didn't think too much about it. Now that he thought about it, the conversation between the three people and this unusual kidnapping, the whole thing was full of conspiracy. "You're right, but what does that have to do with us? We'll leave as soon as we find those guys. I'm not interested in anything else," Ajur said indifferently. He had no interest in the Red Skull's conspiracy. What he wanted to do most now was to beat up Feng Yenran and O'Brien to vent his anger. These two damn guys made him chase them day and night for so many days, and he even had to pretend to be a pirate to save them. If he didn't vent his anger, he wouldn't be called Ajur. Ajur sinisterly thought about how to teach the two of them a lesson. Should he burn them with fire, or use a high-level illusion to let them have a taste? This was really a bitter choice. "I'm afraid that we have to get involved in this matter. From the moment I stepped on this island, I had a very uncomfortable feeling. There is a magic aura on this island, and this magic aura is very hidden." Magic aura. Ajur's face changed. As the successor of the four god seals, he had power that surpassed ordinary people, and his perception of magic aura was also much stronger than ordinary people. But if this magic aura was very hidden, and the owner of the magic aura was beyond his current level, his perception ability would naturally not be able to sense it. Unless he released the seal of the four god seals and released the power of the seal of summer. But in this kind of environment, how could he release the seal here? If he did so, wouldn't he be in a hurry to tell others that they had sneaked in? And Ming Shi's body flowed with the noble blood of the gods. It was not an exaggeration to call him the son of heaven. With the help of the gods' blood, it was not surprising that Ming Shi could accurately sense the magic aura. "It seems that something big has happened. The leader of the Red Skull can't be so stupid, right? Colluding with the Devil Race was a serious crime. Once it was known by the people of the Star Hall, it would not be a joke." Chapter 273. We can't come to a conclusion yet. Maybe the leader of the Red Skull is just being controlled. Ming Shi shook his head and didn't continue to speak. After confirming that the Red Skull group really had a problem that they couldn't ignore, the two's expression became a lot more dignified. Originally, they didn't want to get involved in the muddy water, but now, it was no longer up to them. While inheriting a powerful force, they often carried a heavy responsibility that others couldn't imagine. Whether it was the four god seals or the bloodline of the gods, they only had one mission in the human world, and that was to protect the human world from being invaded by foreign races. Now that a shadow suspected to be a demon had appeared, the two couldn't just sit back and do nothing. For the time being, the two decided on a strategy. According to Ibak, they first went to the room where the maid was imprisoned, and then acted according to the situation. In a room on Bewitching Wind Island, A group of female slaves who had just been escorted into the castle were leaning against the wall in panic. They were all the daughters of fishermen at sea, but now they were forcibly taken to the island by a group of island pirates. Their future seemed to be doomed. They would become the tools of this group of pirates. They would either be assimilated into demons, or live like walking corpses. There was also a possibility that they wouldn't even have the chance to live before being trampled to death. Zicheng woke up from her coma, and the first thing she saw was a room full of crying girls. These girls had dark skin, and only a few of them were fairer. But compared to Zicheng, they were several levels lower. Zicheng carefully recalled what had happened. Her travel mission this time was to go to the North Sea Ice Country to bring back 30 magic cores of magical beasts unique to the Ice Country. Their group, including the senior leading the team, had a total of 7 people. She didn't expect that on the way to the Ice Country, she would encounter a powerful storm. She was knocked off the ship by a huge wave, and then she didn't know what had happened. In order to figure out what had happened, she immediately used some special functions of the system to call back the image of her after the accident. Many scenes immediately appeared in her mind, from her being knocked off the boat by the huge waves, to her being washed to a beach by the sea, to being rescued by the fishermen, to the most unexpected turn of events when she encountered the pirates who wanted to kidnap her. The pirates asked the village to hand over 10 girls to them, and they wouldn't touch the others. The fisherman who saved him originally wanted to hand over his daughter, but because their family was the poorest, they had no status in the village. The other girls who were handed over were the same. Either their family had no money or power, and they had no choice but to sacrifice themselves for the village, or they had too many daughters at home and didn't care about pushing 1 or 2 of them to death. In order to protect their daughter, the family who saved her handed her over while she was still unconscious. She was taken away by the pirates. In order to let her live, the pirates gave her recovery medicine. Zicheng smiled bitterly. Should she thank those pirates? If it wasn't for the recovery medicine, with her weak body, she definitely wouldn't have woken up in 3 days. There was also the fisherman's family. They saved her, and she should thank them for saving her life. It was a pity that they handed her, an innocent person, over in order to survive. Fortunately, she wasn't harmed by those filthy pirates. If anything happened to her, she wouldn't let off a single one of them. With the help of the system, Zicheng quickly figured out her situation. She had to leave this place. Master, you're finally awake. A cheerful voice echoed in Zicheng's mind. She knew that this was the voice of her contracted spiritual pet, the treasure-seeking mouse. The treasure-seeking mouse was a pet that Zicheng exchanged with her favorability points from the system. This pet's attack power was so low that it basically had no attack power, but it had one advantage, which was that it could find treasures. It was because of this function that she used a large amount of points to exchange for this little thing. Baby, Zicheng gently replied in her mind. Master, this baby sensed the aura of a treasure underground. Let's go find it quickly. The baby treasure-seeking mouse excitedly said in Zicheng's mind. There was a treasure. Zicheng's eyes lit up. This was good news. Although she had the system, treasures in the outside world were still useful to her. If she couldn't use them herself, she could sell them to the system store. The store would then exchange the favorability points with her. With the points, she would be able to buy what she wanted. Baby, don't be anxious. Now is not the time. Let's wait a little longer. At this moment, Irene, who was doing a traveling mission in the Sand Country, felt a little uneasy. Could it be that something had happened to the female lead? After carefully thinking about the plot, Irene's eyes suddenly lit up. She thought of me. At this time, the plot must have progressed to the bewitching Wind Island dungeon. Demon Wind Island was the headquarters of the Red Skull Pirates. On the way to do a mission, the female lead encountered a storm and was saved by a fisherman. Then, the woman was very unlucky and was captured by the Red Skull Pirates who happened to enter the village to capture women. They brought her into the pirates' lair. However, the female lead was still the female lead. Even if she was in the pirates' lair, there were still opportunities waiting for her. The female lead would encounter one of her greatest opportunities there, the demon-suppressing sword. The demon-suppressing sword was an ancient divine sword. It was originally Longza Gamer's sword. Back then, when the demon ancestor attacked the human world, Longza Gamer used this sword to fight against the demon ancestor's chief general, the purple demon. The demon-suppressing sword was left in the deep sea as a sealed item. The purple demon was also suppressed forever. Until the female lead pulled out the demon-suppressing sword for her own selfish reasons and released the purple demon. After the purple demon was released, evil thoughts grew in its heart and it continuously slaughtered the human experts and ordinary people in the human world. Blood flowed like rivers on the sea. Many island countries were destroyed by the purple demon. At this time, Zicheng stepped forward bravely and eliminated the purple demon with the emissary sent by the Star Hall. No one knew that she was the culprit who released the purple demon. Instead, they thought that it was done by the Red Skull Pirates. Just like that, the Red Skull Pirates took the blame for the female lead. And the female lead became the embodiment of kindness and justice. While enjoying the praises of the people, she was also recognized by the Star Hall. After that, she advanced triumphantly and created countless legends. In the past, when she read the book, she didn't feel it. Now that she thought about it again, she really felt that the female lead was a jinx. Wherever she went, she would be unlucky. Wherever she went, she would get into trouble. The few great calamities of the Heavenly Wind continent were all related to the female lead. These great calamities killed countless living beings, but the female lead stepped on the corpses of others and climbed up like a saint. She climbed up to the god realm and was praised by everyone. Irene sighed. This time, she wasn't in the same team as the female lead. The two of them went to different places. She couldn't abandon the mission and chase after the female lead. It was even more impossible for her to warn others that the female lead would release the monster. She hoped that the plot would be as awesome as usual and deviate the plot as far as possible. In any case, it had already deviated so many times before. This time, it should be as usual. There shouldn't be a problem. Chapter 274. Feng Wu was wearing a coarse skirt. Her small face had become very ordinary, and even her hair had turned into the more common golden brown color. In front of her, there were more than a dozen girls dressed like her, carefully carrying food and wine into the castle. Move quickly. Be careful not to knock over the food and wine. Once we're inside, each and every one of you better be alert. If there's any mistake, it would be strange if this old lady doesn't peel off your skin. A graceful young woman with a flirtatious figure walked to the side, her eyes fixed on the group of girls. When she spoke, her words were full of threats and warnings. The girls didn't dare to speak and obediently walked forward. Their hands were very steady, and they didn't dare to spill the food on their plates. The passage leading to the underground was opened, and the girls carrying the food carefully went down the stairs. They didn't dare to say anything unnecessary, and their eyes didn't dare to casually look around. Leading a group of young girls, a woman who was obviously of a higher status than these young girls, walked at the very front. She led the young girls through a series of corridors until they entered a very large stone chamber. Dang! There were at least a few dozen people sitting in the stone room. These people were playing cards, drinking wine, and cursing. Sitting in the main seat was a man who looked to be in his 40s. The man had a beard, and his figure was tall and sturdy. The aura on his body was very powerful, making people feel waves of pressure. Vice Captain, these are the food and wine that the kitchen just made. They're all made according to your taste. The woman in the lead smiled charmingly and walked forward. When the pirates at the side saw someone touch her buttocks, she didn't get angry. Instead, she was full of coquettishness and anger. When the pirates saw that, they felt their blood boil, and they hated that they couldn't hug the beauty and have 300 rounds with her. You've worked hard. Darling quickly come and drink with me. The vice captain looked at her chest with bad intentions, and beckoned the woman named Narrate with his finger. Narrate didn't refuse. She smiled charmingly and pushed one of the girls away with her buttocks, taking the seat for herself. The girl who was pushed away fiercely glared at Narrate and secretly cursed her for being a coquettish fox. However, she didn't dare to cause trouble in front of the vice captain. The group of girls seemed to be very used to this kind of scene. They didn't say anything, and their expressions didn't even change as they took turns to serve the dishes. Fortunately, Fengwu was a girl with facial paralysis. If she showed any emotion at this time, it might be noticed by others. Speaking of which, there was a reason why Fengwu disguised herself as a maid. Not long after Ming Shi and the others sneaked in, Fengwu was also thinking of ways to sneak in. With her simple mind, how could she think of any good ideas? She could only follow Ming Shi's idea and change her disguise as a pirate into a maid. She successfully knocked down the last girl when she was passing by. Then, she put on the girl's clothes and blended into the group of girls. Fengwu's movements were so fast that no one noticed anything amiss. The maids on the island were all girls snatched from the fishermen's homes. The girls had long been trained and wouldn't have any rebellious thoughts. Na-er was a girl who had been snatched onto the island 10 years ago. Her flirtatious and pretty appearance was very popular on the island. She was also a smart person who knew how to curry favor for personal gain. Very quickly, she became one of the female companions of the vice-captain. Because of this, she was much luckier than the girls who were kidnapped with her. As long as she served the most powerful men on the island, she would be able to live comfortably. As for those who couldn't see the situation clearly and would rather die than submit, after being played with by a group of men, their corpses had long been thrown into the sea to feed the fish. There were a few girls like Na-er who understood the situation. They were in charge of some small places on the island that weren't valued too much. Na-er was in charge of the kitchen. The kitchen was considered a place that was valued more. Na-er was also assigned to such a good place because of her good performance over the past 10 years. Na-er sat at the top and served the vice-captain, drinking wine and eating meat. The meat people touched each other and looked very happy. After the other girls finished serving, they left one by one. There were 2 good-looking girls who were left behind by the pirates. Fortunately, the one Fengwu picked was very ordinary. If she was beautiful, she wouldn't have been able to stand in the last row. Following the others out, the maids weren't like the pirates who could walk freely in the basement. Their freedom was still restricted to a certain extent. There were many places where they couldn't walk. Fengwu originally wanted to look around to see if she could find Ming Shi and the others. Unfortunately, she was now disguised as a maid and didn't have the qualifications to walk around. After returning to the kitchen, she was arranged to deliver food to different places. One of the places was the prison cell where the prisoners were held. Unfortunately, the person who was sent to deliver food to the prison cell wasn't Fengwu. She was arranged to deliver food to Princess Hai Lin. Princess Hai Lin was worthy of being a princess. Although she was also imprisoned in the basement, the living conditions were good. All the furniture was available, and even the few sets of clothes and jewelry she carried with her were not touched. Not only that, but the pirates also didn't know what to think. 3 meals a day were delivered on time, and the dishes were all first class. Fengwu was sent to deliver food. A pirate took her to the door of Princess Hai Lin's stone room, opened the door with a key, and let her in to deliver the food. "Get out! You despicable pirates actually dare to imprison this princess. When my royal father and the others arrive, you will definitely die without an intact corpse." As soon as Fengwu entered the stone room, a vase flew towards her. Fortunately, Fengwu dodged quickly. If she was a little slower, her head would have been broken and bleeding. Several of the maids who delivered food before were tortured by Princess Hai Lin. The pirates didn't care about the life or death of a maid. As long as the princess didn't make trouble, they didn't care even if the maid was killed. The vase hit the stone wall with a bang and broke into pieces. Fengwu was still holding the plate in her hand, and the food on it didn't spill. Princess Hai Lin seemed surprised that she dared to dodge. The women who delivered food before were all honest and didn't dare to open it. The pirates didn't seem to care how she beat and scolded the maids. Every time she broke a set of porcelain, there was always a new set. It seemed that these things were specially sent for her to vent her anger. "You dare to dodge? You don't want to live, do you? You dare to dodge." Although Princess Hai Lin was drugged and couldn't use magic, she could still use brute force. She picked up another vase and smashed it. Unfortunately, it was useless this time. Fengwu nimbly dodged and approached her a few steps. Eat. Fengwu secretly looked at the food. It was very delicious. If it wasn't for her, Fengwu would have eaten it herself. Chapter 275. This princess will not eat the food you pirates send. Take it away, take it all away. Helen shouted like a madman, her eyes turning red. After being locked up for so many days and having her magic restricted, the anger in her heart was rising every day. Ever since she was a child, Princess Helen had never been afraid of anything. This was the first time she regretted running away from home because of anger. If she hadn't gone out to sea alone, she wouldn't have given these pirates a chance. However, the most hateful ones were the guards. As Hai Lin's guards, they didn't know how to protect the princess, causing her to be captured and humiliated by these pirates. When she returned, if those guys were still alive, she would definitely kill them to vent her anger. Even if they couldn't protect her safety, then there was no need for them to live. Fengwu stood there with a plate in her hand. The expression on her small face was a little serious. Her appearance had already changed. She had become an ordinary-looking little maid. This expression on her ordinary-looking face looked a little dull. "You don't want to eat?" Fengwu asked. "Don't you understand my words? You lowly commoner, this princess has already said I don't want to eat. You still don't want to take your pig's food and get out." If it weren't for her current strength being limited, Princess Helen would have already attacked with a water spell. Princess Helen was a water mage. Probably because she lived on the sea, if the children born on the island had magic talent, most of them would be of the water element. Only a few would have other elements. Because of living by the sea, the water magic aura was very strong, which also led to the rapid progress of practicing water magic in this place, while the speed of practicing other elements was much slower. It was not an exaggeration to say that the sea world was a paradise for water mages. Princess Helen was born in the royal family, and she was a very favored princess. Her cultivation resources were never lacking. At the age of 17 or 18, Princess Helen already had extraordinary strength. As her strength increased, Princess Helen became more and more arrogant and willful. If her guards and maids didn't serve her well, she would whip them or order them to be executed. In the entire Bohai Kingdom, Princess Helen had no good reputation. Even when she arrived at the pirate's lair, she didn't stop. In just a few days, she had already beaten 2 maids to death. Although the other maids who came to deliver food didn't die, they were severely injured and miserable. Fengwu didn't know about Princess Hai Lin's great achievements. She just stood there and looked at Hai Lin, as if she was thinking about something important. "Since you don't want to eat it, I'll help you eat it." Fengwu had been eyeing Princess Hai Lin's dinner for a long time. Today, in order to sneak into this place, she had not eaten anything. If Princess Helene didn't want to eat it, she should be able to eat it. These things looked so delicious, but she didn't want to eat them. What a strange person. Princess Harleen, who was regarded as a weirdo by Fengwu, was confused by Fengwu's words. Where did this maidservant come from? How could she be so bold as to steal her master's meal? It turned out that not only did she dare to steal her master's meal, but she also dared to eat it in front of her, the princess. Princess Harleen watched as Fengwu carried the plate to the table, lifted the lid, and began to gorge herself. Grease dripped from her mouth. "How dare you eat my dinner?" Princess Hai Lin shouted in disbelief. "Damn her!" Princess Harleen couldn't help but curse. This was the first time Princess Harleen had seen such a bold maid. She dared to curse her master in front of her master. She dared to eat her master's food in front of her. Obviously, the previous maids were quite normal. Why was today's maid so strange? The strange maid Fengwu ate a piece of demon lamb with satisfaction. This demon lamb was a baby that the pirates got themselves and then gave to the fishermen on the island to raise. This kind of low-level demon lamb was only a level 1 magical beast. It was raised as a commonly used meat beast by humans. Not only was its meat fresh and tender, but it was also very easy to raise. While Feng Wu was enjoying the meal, Princess Harleen didn't know what to say. Her dinner had been eaten by this maid. No. What she wanted to say was, where did this maid get the courage to eat her dinner? Hai Lin was in a mess. She did this every day, injuring the person who delivered the meal, and then waiting for the next batch of maids to deliver the meal. Then she would injure the maid who delivered the meal, and then the next person would replace her. When she was tired of playing, she would take the food and replenish her strength. Hai Lin was not a fool. How could she not eat? The reason why she dared to casually deal with the maid and knock over the food was that she knew that these pirates would not let her starve to death. No matter how bad her attitude was, these pirates would bear it. She was not worried about starving. She had originally planned to leave some food for dinner after she was done with this maid. Then, she would continue to abuse the other maids the next day. Unfortunately, this maid did not play by the rules. Obviously, the other maids did not dare to dodge even if they were beaten, but this one dared to dodge. Not only did she dare to dodge, but she also dared to eat the dinner that originally belonged to her. Hai Lin was mad. She, Princess Hai Lin, had never been bullied by a maid like this. You lowly commoner! Who allowed you to eat? Put it down, you are not allowed to eat. Hai Lin rushed forward angrily, not for anything else but to knock over the large plate of food. Even if she did not eat her food, she would not let others enjoy it. However, to knock over the food from the hands of Feng Wu, who was so protective of her food, could be said to be an impossible task. When she rushed up like a madman, Feng Wu just casually used Do Qi to lay down a shield, and she immediately found it difficult to move. Hai Lin's body hit the Do Qi shield with a bang, and then directly fell to the ground because of inertia. You dare to hit this princess? Hai Lin stretched out her white and tender finger, trembling as she pointed at Feng Wu, her eyes full of disbelief and resentment. Being treated like this by a maid, for Hai Lin, was simply the biggest insult she had ever suffered in her life. Feng Wu wiped her hands with satisfaction. It was delicious. I did not hit you. When did she hit her? She clearly fell down herself. Lying is not a good child. Do not lie in the future. Master never let her lie. Seeing Feng Wu's "you are not obedient" expression, Hai Lin felt an impulse to vomit blood. Where did this fellow come from? Could it be that because she had killed the two maids a few days ago, these people had purposely found this person to disgust her? She was overthinking things. Chapter 276. Feng Wu didn't intend to pay attention to what Princess Hai Lin was thinking. After she finished eating the dinner that originally belonged to Princess Hai Lin, she put away the plate and left directly. The stone room where Princess Hai Lin was imprisoned required a special key every time. Without the key, the door couldn't be opened. If she wanted to go out from the inside, she could only let the people outside open the door for her. Fortunately, when she came to deliver the meal, the two guards outside had already told her that when she wanted to go out, she just had to knock on the stone door 3 times, and they would open the door from the outside. After Feng Wu knocked on the stone door 3 times, the door slowly opened. Feng Wu walked out of the half-open door, closing Princess Hai Lin's crazy screams in the stone room. Finished eating? The 2 strong men guarding the door asked. Damn, this princess was too difficult to serve. She had to deliver food 7 or 8 times a day before she was willing to eat. Moreover, she liked to abuse the maids who brought her food. If it wasn't for the fact that she still had a little use value, who would spoil her like this? She really thought that she was still in Bohai Kingdom. She was just a prisoner. What was she doing? Feng Wu nodded. Finished eating, she was full. The girl didn't think that the 2 people were asking about Princess Hai Lin, not her. The 2 guards breathed a sigh of relief. This time it was quite fast. She actually stopped tormenting after such a short time. Who didn't know that the princess inside would not let the people who delivered food out without abusing them for more than an hour every time? She fell and sprained her foot. Feng Wu thought for a moment and said, Hai Lin's foot was injured. When she left, She took a look and saw that her ankle was red and swollen. Fengwu was still wondering why Princess Hai Lin didn't find out that her foot was injured and kept scolding her. Didn't she feel pain at all? When the two guards heard this, they instantly completed their imagination. So that's how it was. She wanted to abuse people but ended up twisting her own foot. This Princess Helene was also a talent. You're quite lucky. In the past, the maids who delivered the food were all beaten black and blue. Two of their faces were even scratched by the broken pieces of the vase. You were the only one who got yourself killed when you bumped into her. That's why you managed to escape the disaster. The two pirates sincerely felt that Fengwu, who was playing the role of an ordinary maid, was really lucky. She had obviously gone in to deliver food like the other maids, but she was the only one who came out unscathed. If this wasn't good luck, then what was? The two pirates told Fengwu about how Princess Hai Lin abused her maids in the past. Thinking that it was about time, they called someone to send Fengwu back to Narrate. Narrate was also surprised that Fengwu could come back unscathed. She had just come back from the vice-captain's dinner banquet. As soon as she came back, she heard that another maid had gone to deliver food to the difficult princess. She thought that she would see her being carried back again. If she was unlucky, she might be carried back as a dead person. Who would have thought that this time, she didn't see her being carried back? She walked back by herself. After the pirate who sent Fengwu back left, Narrate immediately let Fengwu explain the situation. Fengwu wasn't stupid. She only said that Princess Hai Lin wanted to hit her, and the result was that she fell down. Reality proved that the Emperor of Imagination was everywhere. After listening to Fengwu's explanation, Narrate, like the two guards, misunderstood. Not bad, not bad. You did a good job this time. In the future, the task of delivering food to the princess will be handed over to you. If you do it well, you will definitely be rewarded. Narrate looked at Fengwu with a pleasant expression and smiled amiably. Others who went to deliver food were beaten half to death, but this girl went to deliver food and injured the princess's foot. How come she didn't know that this girl could bring misfortune to others? Who cares? Even if it wasn't what she thought, it didn't matter. In any case, she only lost a maid. She didn't care. Fengwu still had no idea that Narrate had thought of her as an unlucky person who was the bane of Princess Hai Lin's existence. Moreover, Narrate was trying to make Princess Hai Lin suffer. But even if she knew, with her personality, she wouldn't care about this. When Fengwu successfully sneaked in, Ming Shi and Ajur had already brought the map to the room where Princess Hai Lin's maid was being held. Because of a back and the unknown captain's arrangements, they were able to successfully switch shifts with the original guards. When the shift was over, the two guards had already left. Apart from Ming Shi and Ajur, no one else appeared near the stone room. Of the two, one was left to guard the door. Ming Shi opened the door with a key and walked in. It was an ordinary stone room with only a stone bed and a stone table. There were no other decorations. This stone room couldn't compare to the one where Princess Hai Lin was held. However, Ming Shi and Ajur hadn't seen Princess Hai Lin yet, so they didn't know. There were 4 maids locked up in the stone room. One of the maids was wearing different clothes from the others. That maid's clothes were more exquisite, and the color was brighter. Even that maid's appearance couldn't be compared to the other 3. You. What do you want? When the 4 maids saw an unfamiliar man enter, they were shocked. The 4 girls trembled in fear and hid in a corner. The girl who was different from the other 3 stood in front of the other 3 and stared resolutely at Ming Shi, who was disguised as a pirate. What do you want? As Hai Lin's number 1 maid, she naturally wasn't stupid. She knew what awaited them after entering a pirate's lair. Every day, the 4 of them would snuggle up to each other in trepidation, afraid that a few men would appear and plot against them. You. Ming Shi pointed at the maid who spoke. Come here. The girl was shocked and despair appeared on her face. No, she didn't want to be humiliated by a pirate. The girl shook her head fiercely in fear. Come here. Either you let me take you away or all 4 of you. It's your choice. Ming Shi played the role of a cold-blooded pirate to perfection. The other three girls looked at each other in dismay. Their eyes revealed despair and hesitation. Although it wasn't obvious, it was enough to be noticed. This was human nature. When things didn't reach that point, they could snuggle together and comfort each other. But when it came to choosing between their own safety and others, they would always think of themselves first. Ella was in great pain. She didn't want to go with this pirate, but if she didn't, then the only fate waiting for them would be the four of them. That being the case, why not let her sacrifice herself? At least she could save the other three. Chapter 277. Ella. The three little maids didn't know what to do. Ella had the highest status among the maids and was the princess's trusted aide. Although the three of them were only maids, they had always been taken care of by Ella. But now, if Ella didn't go with that person, the four of them would only continue to suffer, but they couldn't persuade Ella to take the initiative to go with that person. The three girls hesitated. Ella saw the hesitation of the three girls, and her heart ached, but she didn't say anything, and just slowly walked out. "I'll go with you, don't hurt the three of them," Ella said with a firm look in her eyes. Ming Shi nodded and agreed. He didn't intend to disclose his identity. He didn't trust any of the four people here, so he wouldn't do such a stupid thing to give the other party something to use against him. If these girls were scared by the pirates and spit him out, then he wouldn't even have a place to cry. "Ella." The three girls were moved, but didn't say anything to let her stay. "Come with me obediently, and wait for your Bohai Kingdom's king to obediently give the thing that the leader wants. Maybe I can let you leave Yaofeng Island alive." Ming Shi smiled bloodthirstily, with a trace of cruelty and ruthlessness in his eyes. "Don't you want the essence of water? The king will give you the essence of water for Princess Helen, but after you get it, whether you can keep it or not is a problem." Ella smiled coldly, as if ridiculing the insignificant pirates who dared to dream of getting a treasure like the essence of water. The essence of water was a water treasure produced in a place with abundant water magic elements. A drop of essence of water needed 100 years to condense. If a water magician took it, his magic level would be quickly improved, and at the same time, the essence of water was a treasure that could purify magic energy. With a drop of essence of water on the body, one wouldn't be invaded by magic energy. Ming Shi was surprised to hear that the pirates wanted a treasure like the essence of water. He had always been curious about what the Red Skull wanted to kidnap Princess Helen. He didn't expect that the answer would be the treasure of the water magician's dream, the essence of water. But the three leaders of the Red Skull seemed to be swordsmen. What did they want the essence of water for? Of course, Ming Shi's doubts could not be answered by anyone. He only felt that this matter was becoming more and more confusing. "That little mouth of yours sure knows how to talk. I wonder if you'll still be able to talk like that when you see our captain later." Ming Shi sneered. Ella's face turned pale when she heard this. She already knew what was waiting for her. Ming Shi was just about to take him away when the door opened by itself. Several people came in from outside. The one walking in front was a brawny man that Ming Shi had never seen before. This brawny man was wearing very gorgeous clothes. It was obvious that he had stolen them from somewhere else. "Why aren't you guarding outside? Why did you come in?" The brawny man in luxurious clothes at the front saw Ming Shi playing the role of a pirate and asked with his eyebrows raised. "Oh no, who was this guy?" Ming Shi was slightly flustered. "Are you an idiot? Why aren't you saluting our Captain Aoba?" Fortunately, Ming Shi did not worry for too long. Aoba's henchman immediately stepped forward to make his presence known. "It turned out to be Captain Aoba. I didn't expect that you would come to this place in person. I was a little surprised and didn't greet you at the first moment. Please forgive me this time, Captain Aoba." Ming Shi immediately broke away from the role of a cold-blooded pirate and played the role of a spineless little minion. Aoba was very satisfied with Qin Shi's attitude. He liked the feeling of being flattered. Otherwise, he would not take a bunch of henchmen with him wherever he went. Although Ella wondered how Ming Shi's expression changed so quickly, she did not say anything. Perhaps in her eyes, pirates were a group of people who bullied the good and feared the evil. Captain Aoba came in person. "I wonder what you want this little one to do?" "I'm here to check on the safety of these hostages. Just now, a female magician sneaked onto the island. I suspect that she's here for Princess Helene and the others. You have to watch over these people carefully. I'll send someone to check every hour to prevent the hostages from being rescued." Yes, this little one will be 120% alert. I will definitely keep a close eye on these women. Ming Shi almost made a vow. "Well, good. Perform well. If they disappear, be careful of your little life." After a round of threats, Aobat and his lackeys swaggered away. Ming Shi did not care about Ella and the others. After Aoba left, Ming Shi immediately left the stone room. After Ajur locked the door, he breathed a sigh of relief. "Fortunately, I was really worried just now. Worried that you would reveal a flaw. I was also shocked. Fortunately, it was this person who came this time. If it was someone else, it would have been difficult to pass." The other captains were not as gullible as Aoba. "Did you hear? Someone sneaked in. Do you think it's Feng Wu?" Ajur had been worried since he heard the news at the door. Could it be that Feng Wu had been discovered? Ming Shi shook his head. "It's not Feng Wu. Feng Wu is not a magician. That girl did not know magic at all. Could it be someone from Bohai? Could it be that general's daughter? I can't remember her name." Ajur said confidently. Illis was speechless. "I don't know. No matter who she is, we have to be careful. We must not let our identities be discovered." The two of them were somewhat resentful of that female magician. Why did she sneak in at this time? If there was a thorough investigation, the two of them would be implicated. At that moment, a figure stealthily ran over. It was none other than Abak. "What's the matter with you two? Where is she?" Abak was waiting for the two of them to send someone over. In the end, he could only make a trip himself. "Big brother Abak, we're sorry. We couldn't complete the captain's task." Ming Shi and Ajur pretended to be extremely guilty. What happened? Abak's expression changed. He secretly wondered if someone had found out about his and the captain's plan. Captain Aoba came over just now. He said that someone had snuck into the island. The security is even tighter now. Captain Aoba sends people to check every hour. We can't do anything. What? Abak cried out in alarm. Is he mistaken? Even if someone came to save us, it would be the princess. Who would have nothing better to do than come save these maids? They're just putting on airs every time they catch them. How despicable. Now that Aoba had ruined his plans, he had to report back to the captain. Otherwise, who knew how angry he'd be if they didn't send someone over? Thinking of this, Abak didn't say anything else. He had the two of them guard the island properly and quickly ran away. Chapter 278. Because an outsider had snuck into Bewitching Wind Island, everyone on the island was on high alert. After a whole night, they still couldn't find the female magician. The three leaders of Bewitching Wind Island couldn't sit still anymore. The two vice-captains also couldn't care less about women. The three leaders sat together in a room in the castle. The room was decorated luxuriously, even more luxuriously than the rooms of many noble families. "Big brother, do you think the Bohai Kingdom's people have snuck in?" The vice-captain Bardock frowned. "So what? She's only one person, she doesn't even have a ship. We've already set up a formation on the island. No spatial scrolls can be used on Bewitching Wind Island. If she can't leave Bewitching Wind Island, it's useless even if she saves someone." The captain Bewitching Wind said. Every master of Bewitching Wind Island and Red Skull would inherit the name Bewitching Wind. No matter what they were called before, after becoming the captain of Red Skull, they could only be called Bewitching Wind. "Boss is right. She's just a small magician. She can't do anything." The Vice Captain Jacko nodded in agreement. The problem now isn't whether that woman can escape, but where is she hiding? Our people have already searched every corner of the island, but we still can't find her. This is too strange. This was what Bardock couldn't figure out the most. They had already searched every corner of Mingming Island, but they still couldn't find her. No matter how hard they searched, they still couldn't find her. Could it be that she could follow the trail? We've only searched the places that we can see. We haven't searched the places that we can't see. Can't she blend in with the maids? Bewitching Wind sneered. He unsheathed the demon blade in his hand. A strong murderous aura instantly filled the room. The other two only frowned, but didn't ask him to put away the demon blade. This demon blade was the token of every generation of Bewitching Wind. Only the person who obtained it was qualified to inherit the name Bewitching Wind and become the master of Bewitching Wind Island and Red Skull. Bardock's eyes lit up. He hadn't thought of this possibility. I know what to do. This time, we must make sure that woman doesn't return. His voice was filled with killing intent. Don't worry about that woman for now. The Bohai Kingdom's royal family has already sent someone to contact us. They have agreed to exchange a water essence for Princess Hai Lin. Originally, I thought that we could exchange for 3 of them, and it just so happens that all 3 of us can use them. Who would have thought that the Bohai Kingdom's royal family actually doesn't care about Princess Hai Lin's life and death, saying that we'll only exchange for 1. If we don't want to exchange, Hai Lin is at our disposal. As he spoke, Jacko's eyes were filled with disdain. He knew that the people of the royal family would always put their own interests first. She was just a princess, not a proper heir. If it wasn't for the Bohai Kingdom's king's favor, she might not even be able to exchange for a single pill. Agree to it. Let's get the essence of water first. We don't have much time left. If others discover that place, we won't get any benefits. Yao Feng sheathed his demon saber. Although he was a little displeased, he agreed after thinking about it. I got it. I'll contact the people from the Sea Kingdom and have them prepare the water essence. Jacko said. Naturally, the conversation between the 3 heads of Bewitching Wind Island couldn't be leaked. After the conversation, they conducted a stricter investigation on the female mage who had snuck into the island. Since she was a maid on the island, she was the focus of the investigation. If the maids were to investigate carefully, wouldn't the Fengwu girl be in great danger? Fortunately, Fengwu was lucky. When the female mage had successfully escaped, Fengwu had disguised herself as a maid and never left the island. Afterwards, she didn't go out alone, so she wasn't suspected. Some of the maids who had disappeared for a period of time became the focus of the investigation. They were all locked up, waiting for the higher-ups to confirm their identities. Perhaps the female magician's luck ran out. She was eventually discovered by the female magician hiding among the maids, and a huge battle broke out on Evil Wind Island. This female mage was none other than Zicheng. Zicheng knew from the system that there were treasures on Bewitching Wind Island. Naturally, she didn't want to leave. After killing one of the maids, she disguised herself as one and successfully avoided being searched again and again. She did not expect to be found during a search. Zicheng had no choice but to accept the challenge. She fought against 100 pirates alone. After killing and injuring more than 50 pirates, she was finally captured by the vice captain, Bardock, who appeared later. After being caught, she was put on a magic bracelet. After putting on the bracelet, she couldn't use her magic and became like an ordinary person. Take her away and lock her up. Bardock pinched Zicheng's chin and gave the order with a cold smile. How could the subordinates dare to hesitate? They immediately dragged him away. Damn it, if she was given a little more time and her body recovered to its peak state, she wouldn't be afraid of these people. The most despicable thing was that many of her methods couldn't be used in front of others, unless she could kill everyone at once, which of course was impossible. Although Zicheng was caught, she wasn't afraid. She had the system on her and could exchange for anything. She was confident that she could escape from this place. She was dragged by several pirates and thrown into a stone room. There wasn't a single person in the stone room. The Bohai Kingdom and Bewitching Wind Islands transaction was very successful. After getting my water essence, Bewitching Wind Islands people very generously released Princess Helen and her maids and guards. In the main hall of Bewitching Wind Islands Castle, the Bohai Kingdom's envoy, General Duo, stood in the middle of the hall with his daughter, Illis, neither servile nor overbearing. After Du offered a drop of water essence, Princess Harleen and the people around her were brought out. Now that she could go home, Princess Helen finally let out a sigh of relief. She didn't want to stay in this place anymore. You actually mistreated the princess. Illis saw Princess Helen's limp and loudly accused with red eyes. Even General Duo had a gloomy face as he coldly asked Jacko for an explanation. Jacko had never seen Princess Helene before, so he didn't know what was wrong with her feet. What's going on? He turned to look at the two pirates who brought Princess Helen over. Princess Helen was injured, so the guards would naturally be held accountable. The two guards didn't dare to hide anything. If the vice leader misunderstood that they didn't follow his orders and mistreated Princess Helen, they wouldn't even have a place to cry. Vice leader, no one mistreated her. She fell down on her own. The two pirates loudly cried out. Chapter 279. What kind of joke was this? With this woman's heart that was even more vicious than the pirates, who could hurt her? They would be thankful if she didn't abuse them. You're lying. It must be you vicious pirates who did it. Ildes and Duol didn't believe it. They thought that the pirates were just trying to shift the blame. What lies did we say? You even said that we're vicious, but your princess is a good person. She's only been locked up for a few days, and she's already abused several maids to death. She's even injured and crippled several of them. Her leg was injured when she was abusing the maids. She didn't stand properly and fell. She even said that we abused her. From the beginning to the end, we've been serving her with good food and drinks. She's injured because of herself. The two pirates guarding Princess Harleen couldn't take it anymore. What was this? They clearly didn't touch her at all, but they were being accused like this. Although they weren't good people, they didn't want to be the scapegoat for this kind of thing. You two lowly commoners, those maids didn't serve you well, so you deserve to be beaten to death. However, that maid actually dared to cause this princess to fall and injure herself. She should be beheaded to atone for her crime. Princess Harleen didn't hide her actions at all. She didn't tell them that Fengwu stole her food. She didn't want to be laughed at by the outside world. She was bullied by a maid in a pirate's den. Although Princess Harleen wouldn't say what Fengwu did to her, she didn't plan to let her go. She couldn't let anyone who dared to treat her like this live. Ildes and Duol looked at each other. The princess admitted that she wasn't abused. The princess is right. We should hand over the maid who injured the princess. Let us kill her and make her pay for her sins. Ildes nodded and agreed with Princess Harleen's words. A mere maid who dared to injure the princess naturally didn't need to live. If there's nothing else, you can leave. I hope there's still a merchant who can trade with the Bohai Kingdom. Jacko looked at them with a smile that wasn't a smile. But he didn't say anything about handing over the maid. Sorry to disturb you, Deputy Commander Jacko. Duo could see that Jacko would not hand over the maid for them to deal with. Although she was just a small maid, she was still someone from Bewitching Wind Island. Bewitching Wind Island was in a dominant position, so they would not show any weakness to the Bohai royal family. Princess, His Majesty has been waiting for you for a long time. Let's go back. Duo said. But that maid. How could Hai Lin be satisfied if she didn't kill that person? Princess, it's time for us to leave. General Duo emphasized. Princess, listen to my father. This is a pirate's nest. Do you really want to continue staying here? Ilris tried to persuade her as well. Hai Lin thought for a moment. This place was indeed not a place to stay for long. If there was a chance in the future, she would kill that little maid. Helplessly, Hai Lin reluctantly agreed. The three of them were about to leave with the others when Jacko suddenly said, Please wait. The three of them turned their heads. Princess Hai Lin's maids and guards looked as if they were facing a great enemy. They were afraid that this evil pirate would go back on his word and not let them leave. Is Deputy Commander Jacko going back on his word? Dueo couldn't help but think this way. When making a deal with pirates, one had to worry about being betrayed. This time, he didn't bring too many people. Bewitching Wind Island didn't allow too many outsiders to enter. Only he and two of his trusted aides came to the island. The others were still waiting on the ship. If Jacko made a move now, all of them would probably die here. General Dueo, you misunderstood. Our Red Skull has always kept our word. We said that we would let them go once we received the goods. We will definitely honor the agreement. The reason why we stopped you is because we suddenly remembered that there are a few guests that we want you to identify. Those few people have snuck into the island in the past 2 days. If they are from Bohai Kingdom, please take them away. If not, our Red Skull will deal with them ourselves. Hearing Jacko say this, everyone was relieved. It was fine as long as he didn't go back on his word. However, when Illis heard this, she suddenly thought of something. She said that she seemed to have forgotten something. She seemed to have forgotten about Ogre and the others. Very quickly, another person was brought up. This time, it was Feng Yanran and the other three, as well as Zicheng. Because Zicheng had been locked up alone in a stone room, Feng Yanran didn't know that this classmate of hers had also been captured. Seeing that Zicheng was also here, Feng Yanran was shocked. Zicheng, why are you here? O'Brien had never seen Zicheng before, but he had heard of this name. Hearing this, he was also a little surprised. At this time, the students of the various grades were all doing the traveling missions. The Heavenly Wind continent was very big, and there were many places that one could travel to. It was impossible for anyone to draw a traveling mission to the same place. Thinking about it this way, it was very unusual for Zicheng to appear here. Yanran. Zicheng was also shocked. Why was Feng Yanran here? And from the looks of it, she was also captured. Princess. General. On the other hand, it was Ogre and Bonko who called out to their master in surprise. Are these the princess's people? Seeing the surprised expressions of Ogre and the others, Jacko already had an answer in his heart. These two are, the others are not. Hai Lin pointed at Ogre and Bonko, looking at Feng Yanran with jealousy in her eyes. Beautiful women didn't want to see someone more beautiful than them. Feng Yanran's beauty could undoubtedly kill most of the beauties. Princess, Miss Yanran and Mr. O'Brien are the people we invited to save you. They are our people. Ogre hurriedly said. Feng Yanran and Bonko were invited by them. Now that the general had come to save the princess, how could they not care about Feng Yanran and the others? Who would have thought that Hai Lin would coldly snort? They saved me. Did they save me? These two most likely want to take advantage of this opportunity to get benefits from this princess. This princess has seen many of these kinds of people. There is no need to pay attention to them. What she meant was that she didn't intend to save Feng Yanran and O'Brien. Princess Hai Lin. How can you say that? If it weren't for saving you, Senior O'Brien and I wouldn't have been captured by the pirates. Feng Yanran's eyes widened in disbelief. She never dreamed that Princess Hai Lin would say such a thing. O'Brien was even more furious. For the nth time, he regretted not listening to Senior Ming-Shi's words and bringing himself and Yanran into such a dangerous situation. O'Brien's angry eyes and Feng Yanran's disbelieving gaze made Princess Hai Lin's heart feel very comfortable. Save me. Did I ask you to come save me? As the princess of the Bohai Kingdom, how could I not find someone to save me? Why would I need you two who can't even protect yourselves to save me? Hai Lin's eyes became more and more disdainful. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.